Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming from right here on my YouTube channel. I am, of course, your host, John Campea, and it is an awesome honor and privilege, as it is every day, to have you, our international friends, gather around as we talk about our favorite things in the world, movies, movie news, TV, streaming, and all sorts of good stuff. And guys, it's Monday. I hope you guys had a fantastic weekend filled with fun and relaxation. And may you have a glorious week ahead filled with triumph and victory. And joining me right over here, sitting to my left, Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett. Robert, how you doing today, sir?
John, I mean, it's another great, glorious day. We have a Marvel movie at the top of the box office. We have a new James Cameron trailer. We've got a new Star Trek series. You know,
it's a good time to be around.
It's a good time to be around. It's a good time to be an imagination connoisseur.
Also joining us after skipping work on Friday, sitting over there is Chris Carr. Chris, how you doing?
I'm doing excellent. I was freeing up desk space for Christian. I was being such a mensch.
You were such a team player. Thank you so much for doing that.
Being such a team player, going to the beach.
Taking one for the team. Well, welcome back. It's good to have you here. And of course, over there joining you guys in the live chat today, he'll be chatting with you guys. It's Ray Ora. Ray, how you doing today?
Hey, yo. Winning time, baby.
Oh, yes, winning time. And we are going to talk some winning time. We're going to talk about some Thor, Love and Thunder. We're going to talk about box office numbers blowing up all over the place for Doctor Strange. Got a whole bunch of stuff they're going to be talking about here today. And here's how today's show is going to go. We're going to break the show up into two parts. In the first half of the show, we're going to take some predetermined topics. Then in the second half of the show, we're going to take your live comments and questions. Now, if you want to get a live comment or question on the show, number one, you got to be watching live. Secondly, once we get near the end of our final main topic, I will announce that we're opening up the super chats. And when we do that, you guys will have like maybe 2.5 minutes to fire in a comment, question, thought, observation, theory, whatever you want to do. And then we will read those off in the second half of the show. Now, before we get into our main topics here, we got one off the top, and that is this. You know, one of the movies that is being talked about a lot, and obviously has been talked about a lot, is Avatar 2. A film, Rob, that you pointed out before we started filming here today, started shooting in 2017. In 2017 is when they started shooting this movie, and we are now on the precipice of this movie opening up in a couple of months. Now, we did tell you guys that last week at CinemaCon, they showed us the first trailer for Avatar, and we were quite impressed with it. Then they added it to Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. So if you went to go see Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, you had a chance to see the trailer for Avatar. But now you can watch it wherever you are because they have finally released the first footage, trailer, teaser, sizzle, whatever you want to call it, for Avatar 2, The Way of Water online. And it seems to be the talk of the town. Now, let me preface all this by saying this. You know, whenever Avatar comes up, you still get this Statler and Waldorf group of people up in the balcony going, nobody cares about Avatar anymore. Oh, okay, sure. Believe that if you'd like. It is folly, to quote Boromir in Fellowship of the Ring, 'tis folly to count out a James Cameron film at the box office. But I mentioned, the last time we talked about it, I said, everybody is talking about Avatar. Even if they want to pipe in and make themselves sound cool, like they think they're sounding cool by going, nobody cares about Avatar. Okay, I just want to point this out. If you go to our playlist on our YouTube channel and you go to our mailbag, right? Mailbag's a fun show. We love doing it. Get anywhere between 10, 20, 25,000 views, on an average mailbag.
Very respectable.
10 to 20, 25,000 views. Have a lot of fun taking people's questions. It's really good. We put up one last week that had Avatar in the title. And I can't remember the exact title, but Avatar 2, are people going to go out to see it, blah, blah, blah. That one had over 45,000 views. Like double the normal amount of views at a mailbag. Don't tell me nobody cares about Avatar. Okay, sure, you believe that if you want. This movie ain't going to make $2 billion, I don't think, but this movie's going to make a hell of a lot of money and a hell of a lot of bank. And already, when you go through all the outlets today, it's blown up. Like it's the front thing. When I go to my Feedly, and Feedly gives me on the front page of my Feedly, it gives me the top 10 top stories. 9 of them were stories about the Avatar 2 trailer dropping.
It's the lead story.
Yeah,
It's a
but
headline.
nobody cares about Avatar. Like
Hollywood
I don't know
Reporter.
who's not getting the memo, but apparently nobody cares about Avatar. Anyway, so that thing came out. Rob, we of course watched this thing when we were in CinemaCon. I thought, as a trailer, it's not a great trailer. I mean, it's the first kind of an announcement thing. This movie is still like 6-7 months away, whatever. But it was amazing to go back to that world. It looks visually stunning. And I'm looking forward to the first real trailer when they actually start revealing a little bit more about what's going on. But now that this thing's out in the world, people get to see it. What kind of responses have you been hearing from people, whether it's coming out of Doctor Strange, seeing it online this morning now? And, how have your thoughts evolved over this first bit of footage we got from Avatar?
Well, I said, John, I think I said it to you. I said on the show, I go, as soon as this trailer drops, half the people are going to be talking about how Avatar doesn't matter.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And that James Cameron this, James Cameron that, and it's Fern Gully and Dances with Wolves, and it looks like a video game. Whatever. It was so. But I've noticed something in the responses, like even in the mailbags, like in the spoiler chats and I was doing last night, there were people that chimed in and said there was a huge response in their theater for the Avatar trailer, or there was a tepid, lukewarm response. And I really think that it's funny to me because I consider myself a fairly educated film fan. I love Avatar. I have the extended version on Blu-ray.
Of course you do. I wouldn't be surprised if you have at least 3 versions of Avatar.
I actually do have
Of course you do. Of
Avatar.
course you do.
But one of the things about that movie is whenever I put it on to watch it, I'm enchanted by it. The filmmaking is masterful. James Cameron draws you in. I like Sam Worthington's character. It's very transportive. And the scene where they go ride those dragons for the first time, I would put that up against any scene in any movie, any science fiction film, as one of the most all-encompassing, awe-inspiring, truly bringing out a sense of wonder of any movie ever made. When they first ride those.
Yeah, I still remember. On the big screen, that was quite an
in
experience.
3D IMAX, it was absolutely incredible. I love Avatar. It's a classical story, yes. James Cameron has said that there's a reason he didn't just make Avatar 2, he made Avatar 2, 3, and 4.
And 5.
And 5. So there's going to be a whole, he said each one deals with family, like a family saga. I don't know why people count him out. Because whatever he comes up with, he has a way of appealing. He makes very broad-based entertainments. They're not too highfalutin. Everybody can understand them. They're very, I would call them meat and potatoes, like Aliens. It's about the Marines, man. It doesn't get more gung-ho than that. Everybody gets it. You love all those characters. You can still quote. You can quote Hudson. Game over, man. Game over. It's been how many? Everyone knows. Everyone can quote James Cameron movies. I'll be back. Everyone. Why people can continually count him out? Like there's already pundits going, nobody cares about Avatar. Who's going to go see this
the number
movie
one
again?
box office film of all time.
Yeah,
Nobody cares.
I don't get it. I don't get it. Whatever he gives us with motion capture, and I just read a comment just now that said, well, I don't understand why, he had to do motion capture underwater. Why did he have to do it for real? Just not do it, put people on wires or whatever. I mean, James Cameron does things to make it look as good as it can. He knows. And everyone constantly bet against him. Titanic, James Cameron's movie that hit its own iceberg. It's going to sink to the bottom of the ocean. Just how'd that work out for you, everyone?
Number 3 all-time box office. James Cameron has directed 2 of the top 3 all-time box office films ever. The number 1 and the number 3 in Titanic and that. And my favorite action film of all time, True Lies.
Dude, that movie is so good. When
it's
you watch
ridiculously good.
It's ridiculous. And it works on it works as a comedy, a buddy, like a buddy cop.
You know what she sold the money for? An abortion.
It's
that line, I still die every time he says that.
That action sequence when they're driving on out to Key West,
Yep.
There's skiing in it. Any movie that has skiing in it is awesome. I mean, and Arnold Schwarzenegger, who would have thought that James Cameron would have turned him into a suave, debonair spy with Jamie Lee Curtis as his wife?
Yeah.
You know who would do that? No one except
Jimmy Cameron.
James Cameron. That's right.
Chris, you were there with us in Las Vegas. You saw the trailer, the footage that they gave us for Avatar. You were amongst the first. You were the first person in the world to see it with everybody else there. They put it out in front of Dr. Strange. What kind of responses and reactions have you been seeing and observing for that? And on top of that, what's your impression of the trailer now that it's out and online for everybody to see?
I mean, within my circle, everyone has been very, very excited about this. I'm a millennial, and we loved this movie. This movie was amazing. And anytime someone says to me, too, it's Fern Gully with Dancing with Wolves and looks like a video game, I'm like, hell yeah. That's all I want from every movie.
Because they're not wrong. When that criticism is not wrong. It's totally true.
It's totally accurate.
But it doesn't change anything that it's a really great movie.
Yeah, but I think that's a great elevator pitch for this movie. Of like, yeah, I love the shit out of Fern Gully. Let's go watch this right now. So I'm really, really hyped about this. It's a teaser trailer, though, right? I mean, we don't know much about the story here. We just know we're exploring the underwater part of Pandora now. So I am looking forward to seeing the actual trailer that gives us more of the story here, that lets us know what's happening. But I mean, to go off of what you were saying here too, Rob, is James Cameron gives you a visual feast every time he makes a film.
Yeah.
So at the very least, you're going to walk away from something gorgeous. I don't know why people... And I say this as somebody who is like, I don't think this movie looks good. I've done that in the past. I just don't understand the kind of in vogue nature of saying that no one cares about this movie. Because the more you talk about something you dislike, the more I think you're sandbox flirting with a movie. Right? You're just pulling at James Cameron's pigtails right now. And I'm over it. You're still going to see it. And then you're going to have a cool opinion about how it's not good. Awesome. You're still giving James Cameron
Here's
your money.
the thing. If you really thought... If you were right in saying nobody cares about Avatar, you wouldn't feel the need to say nobody cares about Avatar.
Exactly.
The very fact that everybody so desperately feels the need to say it out loud just kind of proves that, listen, the average movie-going audience, this thing, again, I don't know if this movie's going to be any good. Let's be very clear. I mean, this movie may be garbage. It might be. It might be terrible. And again, I don't think this movie's going to make $300 million opening weekend. But if you don't think this movie is automatically going to be in the top 20 biggest openings in cinematic history, I think you're crazy. Mm-hmm. It will. It absolutely 100% will.
Absolutely.
Well, we learned at CinemaCon, too, that they've remastered Avatar 1, the first Avatar.
Yeah.
They're re-releasing that in the theaters in September. Now, we saw the trailer in high frame rate 3D.
Yeah.
And one of the things that was most striking about Avatar in the theater was seeing it in 3D IMAX. I mean, it's the best 3D that was ever done. And the trailer, I mean, even though, it went by quick, seeing it in high frame rate in 3D, if they do that again, they're going to bring us that same kind of experience. If my 70-year-old unimaginative mother, who's now going to be, she's 83, she just turned, so she's going to be 83, so it will have been 13 years since the original. My mom is going to go, her 83-year-old self will be as amazed as she was 13 years ago.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, and I think your mom probably represents a lot of the average movie-going audience that's going to be excited about this. Question is for you guys. What do you think about this? Have you now had a chance, whether you saw Doctor Strange or not, have you had a chance to check out and see this trailer now that it's out and online? Whatever you guys think, jump on down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Okay, guys. With that down, let's now move into our main topics here today, shall we? And how do we select our main topics here on the show? Well, it's simple. You guys come up with them. Whenever you come across a big topic, issue, or story that you guys feel needs to be a main topic here on the John Campea Show, just go anytime 24/7 over to www.thejohncampeashow.com/contact. Once you guys get there, you're going to see a form. Fill it out with your topic or question. It's absolutely free. Hit submit, and then maybe, just maybe, you might see your submission featured as a main topic here on the John Campea Show. With that down, Chris, what is our first main topic today?
This first one comes from Greg. Hello, John. I know Multiverse of Madness wasn't your favorite MCU movie, but I loved it. And one of the biggest smiles I've had in theaters this year was seeing Patrick Stewart back on the screen as Charles Xavier. Stewart says he'd like to come back to play Charles again in the MCU. To me, this is a no-brainer. I don't think fans will accept anyone else. What do you think? Thanks.
All right. And of course, like yesterday, we did our Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness open spoiler discussion. 3.5 hours of it yesterday, and that was only part one. Part two is coming out a little bit later today with Robert Meyer Burnett picking up the topics and questions, so you can hear, answers from a different perspective than just me. So keep your guys' eyes open for that. That's coming up a little bit later today. But yeah, obviously we've been talking a lot about, we're going to talk about his box office returns a little bit later. But obviously one of the things that got people really excited about this movie, I would go so far as to say the thing that got people really excited about this movie was the presence of Patrick Stewart. Because I reminded people about this on the open spoiler discussion yesterday, was that you got to remember, before that trailer came out with Patrick Stewart's voice in it, we should tell him the truth, and you see the back of his head and everything, we've been getting a lot of comments and questions in from people saying, hey, John, I don't know if it's just me, but I'm not really feeling any buzz from people about this movie, and they weren't completely wrong. And then that trailer came out, and Patrick Stewart turned the tide, to quote Gandalf. The turning of the tide came, and all of a sudden, everybody was talking about Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, right? And a lot of that had to do with Patrick Stewart. People love their Pat Stew. Is that what I'm going to make that a cool thing? Pat Stew. Everybody loves the Pat Stew, and we're loving it. And a lot of people thinking we'd like to see him come back. And you know who else wouldn't mind coming back? Patrick Stewart. This is what Patrick Stewart had to say. This comes from the folks over at Screen Rant. Stewart spoke to Variety following the world premiere of the MCU sequel to discuss his decision to play the role again. At the end of the interview, Stewart is asked if there's any chance that he'll play Professor X again, and he is willing to do it. Charles Xavier? Yeah, there may be. You know, the whole X-Men comic series is so huge, so vast, there might be an opportunity in which he comes back. We'll see. That comes to us from Screen Rant quoting Patrick Stewart. Okay, so as far as the question goes, is Patrick Stewart the only person that audiences are willing to see as Professor X? No, that's not true at all. We already know that because James McAvoy played Professor Xavier and was quite well received.
Mm-hmm.
He was really good.
I mean, X-Men, I still contend that X-Men Days of Future Past is legitimately a top 10 greatest comic book film of all time.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people really loved First Class and all that kind of stuff. So we've already seen that the audience is willing to see somebody else in the role. But to hear that Patrick Stewart is willing to come back, and listen, one of the biggest pops, and you can make an argument that the biggest pop in this movie was either Patrick Stewart popping up on screen or blah, blah, blah popping up on screen. But it depends on the theater. Some theaters are saying that blah, blah, blah was the biggest pop. Some half theaters saying Patrick Stewart was the biggest pop.
There's definitely a bigger pop.
I mean, there is? Oh, I know. I get it. People who've seen the movie know what she's talking about. There was definitely a bigger pop. There was.
I've seen it. I don't know what she's talking about. I have no idea, to be honest.
I'll tell you later, Ray.
So, I mean, everybody loved seeing him on there. Loved seeing him on there. Could there be avenues and ways, particularly in a multiverse reality that is, invading the MCU, that we could theoretically see him come back? Yes. But should Patrick Stewart be Professor Charles Xavier in the new MCU moving forward? And as somebody who, to me, Professor Charles Xavier will always be Patrick Stewart. Like, to me, whenever I think of Charles Xavier, I have for the last more than 20 years, because longer, even before, because he was the ultimate fan cast of Charles Xavier.
He was.
I'd say for me, for 30 years, the only guy I have in my head for Professor Charles Xavier is Patrick Stewart. But as somebody who feels that way, that Patrick Stewart will always be my Professor X, he should not be Professor X moving forward. It is time for a new Professor X to come and take the mantle, so Kevin Feige and the folks at Marvel can tell their new story moving forward with their own Professor Charles Xavier. And again, I disagree with that sentiment that he's the only one fans will accept. I think, again, we've already seen that that's not the case. James McAvoy was well received. I think another actor can be well received. So have him pop up one or two more times in a quick cameo sort of special multiversal role. Yeah, I can see that. But he's not Professor Charles Xavier anymore. And so it's time to have somebody else. Anyway, Chris, you hear this. I mean, obviously the great Pat Stew is willing to come back. Quit trying to make Pat Stew a thing. Anyway.
We're making it a thing.
I'm trying to make it a thing
Stew.
here. With Patrick Stewart saying that he'd totally be open to coming back. Do you see that? And what do you think about our viewers' idea that like he's really the only guy to play Professor X? What do you think?
Well, it comes back to this idea that we talk about a lot on this show, right? An actor wants to be in Marvel? Ooh.
What?
That's wild.
11.
They hate money. So it makes sense.
I think actors hate it's money.
We hate it so much. God,
You know what
please.
working cures?
Only pay us in credit
Poverty.
and exposure. So that in itself is just, of course, he'd want to come back. And this is a character that he loves playing. He played this character with one of his best friends in the entire world for years, too.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that's enticing as well. But I do think that it is time to move on. I think it was Elizabeth Gerardo who wrote in and was just like, if I have to keep seeing things happen to Patrick Stewart and like I have to keep seeing him come back in. And I think we are ready to move on. James McAvoy proved that you can have somebody else in the role and do it really, really well. And to a degree, I do think he was playing Patrick Stewart. He was doing a really, really great job embodying the same character that we all knew and loved. And that's what it's about, though, making a role your own. I'm a Whovian, and my doctor, my gateway drug to that show was David Tennant. And when people were talking about, well, we should just bring David Tennant back to be the doctor again. No. Why would you do that? It's time to move on sometimes. Let somebody else do the role. Have somebody else try their own version of it, because that's what keeps storytelling fresh, is when we take something that we love and we explore new avenues with it.
I think they made a great choice this weekend for
I'm
the new
so
doctor.
excited about it.
If you
He's
watch
incredible on Sex Education.
He's so good.
Yeah.
I have no idea what we're talking about, so that's okay. Anyway, Rob, what do you think about this whole Patrick Stewart situation?
Well, look, I think that the Marvel Cinematic Universe has already kind of told us. I mean, the same way that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are now in the MCU from their alternate universes, I think that our Patrick Stewart should be relegated to alternate universes. The MCU, our MCU, the 616 universe, deserves to have its own all-new X-Men, I think. Because otherwise, it's you're begging and borrowing from other universes and other franchises. I like what they've done. I like that they've now set up that, okay, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man and Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, those are real and they existed out there in the multiverse, which means that the Fox X-Men universe is also part of a multiverse.
Or can
be,
Yeah.
but not our universe. Because I'm really looking forward to seeing a new incarnation of the X-Men through the prism of what Kevin Feige, Louis D'Esposito, and Victoria Alonso have done at Marvel. And the thing is, they already know what they're doing. Like you always point out, Kevin Feige said 5 years.
Yeah, and here
It's
we
been
are.
more than 5 years. They know, and I think it's going to be exciting. Whatever they do, it's going to be exciting and worth watching. And I for one am there for it. And Patrick Stewart, I love Patrick Stewart, but the guy's in his 80s now. I mean, he went out so beautifully in Logan.
Yeah,
I mean, that
it was-
movie was so wonderful. And I keep bringing people back. Once they've done, how many people get a swan song like Logan? Let's leave it in the past. He was great in Doctor Strange. It was really cool, but it was a multiverse and he's dead.
So here's the thing. And I wish we could beep out what you just said. But anyway, yes. So anyway, guys, question is for you.
I mean, I meant that in Logan.
Oh, yes.
Yes,
of course.
Professor X died in Logan.
Yeah, that's what you meant.
Yeah,
It's totally not what you were talking about at the moment, but sure.
but he died.
Yes, he did. Anyway, guys,
So did Wolverine.
question is for you. What do you think about this? I mean, look, if you're like, and the audience I was with both times that I saw this movie, when Professor Charles Xavier pops up on the screen, like the response is clearly enormous. There is a huge lot of love there. But do you think maybe Kevin Feige should look at Patrick Stewart being the new, but new Professor Charles Xavier? Shit, it's time to move on. Maybe just have him come back as some cameos. Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. And as we try and start running around trying to avoid spoilers, guys, you know what's really good to do? Replenish your liquids. And one of the things that really helps you do that are our friends, the sponsor of today's video, Liquid IV. We want to take a minute and thank the sponsors of this video, Liquid IV. Now listen, just one stick of Liquid IV added to 16 ounces of water will hydrate you faster and more efficiently than just water alone. It contains 5 essential vitamins like B3, B5, B6, B12, and of course vitamin C, with 3 times the electrolytes as traditional sports drinks. And what makes Liquid IV so effective is the science of cellular transport technology, or CTT. You see, it's designed to enhance rapid absorption of water and other key ingredients into your bloodstream faster and more efficiently. You know, Ann and I get up pretty early in the morning to go to the gym because we can't go to the gym at any other time during the day. And for the last couple of weeks, I have been drinking 1 full glass of water with Liquid IV. And all I can tell you is you can feel the difference during the workout. So go and grab Liquid IV in bulk nationwide at Costco, or you can get 25% off when you go to liquidiv.com and use the code CAMPEA at checkout. That's 25% off anything you order when you use the promo code CAMPEA, that's CAMPEA, at liquidiv.com. Experience better hydration today when you go to liquidiv.com, and remember, use the promo code at checkout,
And
CAMPEA. And a big thank you to our friends over at Liquid IV for sponsoring this episode of the John Campea Show. Guys, it really works. Give it a try. As a matter of fact, whenever you support the sponsors of the John Campea Show, you're actually supporting our show. So please, by all means, go down to the description of this video and you'll see the links to and the promo codes for all of our sponsors down there. Go and check them out because, once again, you're helping out the show when you do. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to main topic number 2. Chris, what is our second main topic today?
This comes from Jeremy Givens. Greetings and salutations, John and crew. We got a quick look at Jane and her helmet in the trailer, but I just saw on Twitter an actual screen grab from the movie showing Jane and Thor together. It's a much better look at Jane in the costume and without the helmet on. I think it looks great. Have you guys seen it? And if so, what do you think of it? Thanks and have a great day.
All right, thanks a lot for saying that in, Jeremy. And yes, of course, the movie that I said this a couple of weeks ago, the MCU movie this year that I am most looking forward to was not Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness. Although I was very excited about that, but it's Thor: Love and Thunder. This is the movie that I'm super stoked about, very excited for. Now, we started seeing some concept art, some toy art and things like that. We started getting an idea about what the Mighty Jane was going to look like in this movie a little bit. And then the teaser trailer came as Mjolnir flew into her hand, camera pans back as she strikes her pose in the helmet. Looked great. Looked fantastic. Well, now Marvel and Disney have officially released an official still from the movie showing Lady Thor and Thor standing side by side. And I got a couple of thoughts here when I look at this image. Number one, let me get negative out of the way first. I said this when we first saw the concept drawing of it. I'll say it again now that we see it live. I'm not a big fan of Thor's costume. There's something I mean, it looks like something out of the Batman and Robin era of superhero costume design. I'm just not that huge on it, you know, and it's probably just a colors thing. I'm not really big on it. Okay, that out of the way. Not a big deal. Natalie Portman looks awesome.
Yeah.
Not only do I love the outfit on her. Again, I like those more classic as far as the MCU goes. The classic, just more darker tones, silvers, things like that. I just think that works really well. But we got a glimpse of her guns in the teaser trailer. She got herself in really good shape for this. I think she looks absolutely phenomenal and awesome. And look, I went from a guy, you know, when they first announced, I think it was at Comic-Con, when Kevin Feige and Taika Waititi was on stage and they were like, we got one more surprise for you. And Natalie Portman comes out, Taika Waititi goes down to one knee and hands her Mjolnir, right? I remember I'm like, because as much as I love Thor, the movie, I think one of the weaker things in the MCU up until that point had been the relationship between Thor and Jane. I'm not very big on romantic relationships in most comic book movies anyway, with a couple of key exceptions, Tony and Pepper, Makari and Druig, yeah, but very, very few. And this one is just one, as much as I love Natalie Portman and I love Thor and I love Chris Hemsworth, they just didn't have the chemistry to me. To me, it just never worked. It wasn't super great in the first Thor, even though I love the movie, and it certainly wasn't all that great in the second Thor, which wasn't all that great of a movie. But over the last year and a half or so, there's something about it has made this idea grow on me. And then when we saw the trailer, I was like, okay, all right. And I don't know what, listen, it's just a still image. A still image does not tell us if a movie's going to be any good or not. All right. I'm just saying that right up front. It doesn't. But I'd be lying to you if I didn't tell you I saw that. I'm like, okay, I want to see these two on screen together. I want to see how their dynamic changes now that she's not just the scientist running around with a pencil in her hand. Let's see how that goes. As a matter of fact, Taika Waititi talked about that a little bit when he said the following about Thor: Love and Thunder. This comes to us from Empire Magazine. It's been about 8 years, Watiti tells Empire. She's had a whole other life. And then the love of your life comes back on the scene and is now dressed like you. It's a real mindfuck for Thor. The notion of Jane wielding Thor's hammer was first explored in Jason Aaron's acclaimed comics run, The Mighty Thor, back in 2015. I didn't know we were going to use the storyline of the Mighty Thor character until we started working out the actual story, says Watiti of Love and Thunder. I was writing and it was like, wouldn't it be kind of cool to bring Jane back into the storyline? In doing so, the director didn't want to tread familiar ground. You don't want Natalie coming back and playing the same character who's walking around with science equipment. You know, while Thor's flying around, she's left on Earth tapping her foot going, when's Thor going to be back? That's boring. So I will admit now that when she first came on stage, well, I thought the whole thing about Taika getting on a knee, that was all cool and everything. I was like, I had some trepidation about the idea of them bringing back this character just because, again, I think it's been the weak part of the thing. But I've come around full circle on it. I now think this could be actually really cool. I love this image. Rob, you had a chance to take a look at it. What did you think about the image and where are your thoughts right now in general about Thor Love and Thunder?
Well, like with you, I even saw on Twitter today, somebody put a picture of Thor from the Dark World up. I think it was from the Dark World, maybe it's from the first Thor, and then put the picture that you just showed up. And they're like, what we want and what we're getting, you know, ripping on the colors of the new costume. And I'm like, first of all, did you see the design work in Thor Ragnarok? How they leaned into the very Kirby-esque look of that world? Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, this colorful, Thor has multiple costumes in this movie. I am sure there's a reason why this armor is so bright and garish. It's probably something to do with his personality or something that happens to be going on in the movie, you know, and maybe he thinks look at how great I look, you know, and he's, this looks to me like it's his members only outfit. The way everyone wore members only jackets in the 80s. Well, you wouldn't know that, but this to me looks like, you know, he's in an 80s. This is metal, dude. This is a metal version of Thor. He's going to get up and he's going to sing, you know, and this some Sammy whatever, Hagar song or I Don't Drive 55. I mean, that's what I see. I mean, he's going to sing the Immigrant Song. I don't know what he's going to do. But this looks like a metal hairband Thor in a music video circa 1986.
It's got a Milano vibe to it.
Yeah.
He's been hanging out with the Guardians.
Yeah, he's been hanging out with the Guardians, you know.
True.
So maybe somebody made him that outfit. Who knows? But yeah, I mean, it looks a little goofy, but I like it. Can you say Hot Toys? Yes, you can. I knew you can. I mean, I like that because I've loved what they've done with the Thor outfits. They've always looked good. Even the Gladiator Thor in Ragnarok, which was also very colorful, just different. And Natalie Portman looks great. I mean, look at her. Wait, can't need more.
But let's bring up that image again. Let's bring up that image one time because
I mean, look at the look on her face and her hair.
She looks great. But listen, God damn, it's so universally unfair that Chris Hemsworth has sucked up that much of the good looks in the universe.
My God,
that is a freaking handsome man.
And when you hear
That's
his
unfair.
voice, it just doubles the appeal. And the fact that he loves his wife and loves his kids. I mean, he's like, we can never, ever, any of us live up to.
Anyway, Chris, you've had a chance to see the images now. What do you think about the image and how does it affect your thoughts overall with Thor, Love and Thunder, where you're at on the film overall right now?
I like it. I think it looks cool. I think it looks really, really rad. And I love what Taika's saying here too, because boy howdy was Natalie wasted in those first two movies.
Yeah.
It was not a great use of such an incredibly dynamic actress. And she was just there to be a love interest, right? She really didn't have much agency. And she's a brilliant physicist who doesn't have much agency. That's disappointing. So it's really, really fun to know that they're going into this, giving her more of a dynamic role to play out here.
Yeah.
And I love the idea of how that's going to affect Thor's ego and his own issue with still debating whether or not he's worthy. I mean, we had that great moment in Endgame, right? But I think there's still going to be some debate of, am I still the same Thor? Do I get to be the Thor I once was? Am I an ever-changing god, man, whatever? And how he's going to have to now deal with this woman who he had a kind of tumultuous relationship with towards the end there, how he's going to have that factor into his sense of worthiness too. Not only as Thor of Asgard, but as a man, as a partner. And I think it's going to be really, really compelling.
Here's a question to go lowbrow, but it has to be brought up. Over under 45% at some point in this movie, there's a joke about Jane handling Thor's hammer.
There has to be.
100%.
You're going to go 100%.
100%. And it's going to be somebody's going to.
Oh, Ray, you disagree?
Yeah, man.
You don't think they're going to go there?
No.
Really?
Come on
Don't
now.
see it.
That sounds like a total kind of bro
like
Thor kind of
very-
joke. Yeah, I think they're going to go there.
It's going to be him or Star-Lord being like, not the first time.
Yes.
I feel like I should put a poll together and ask the audience. Well, we won't take
Do
time.
it.
I don't think we'll take time to do a poll right now, but I think it's pretty automatic they won. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this new photo, this new image? I love it. Where are your thoughts right now about Thor Love and Thunder in general? Whatever you guys are feeling, jump on down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Okay, guys, with that down, let's move on to main topic number 3. Chris, what is our third main topic today?
Third topic comes from Liam. The season finale of Winning Time was last night, and I thought it was a great finish to an outstanding season of television. I had high hopes for this show, being a huge basketball fan, and have wanted a movie or TV show about Magic Johnson and Larry Bird's rivalry since I saw their documentary about 8 years ago. What did you think of the finale, and are you excited to see this story continue?
All right, thanks a lot for saying that in, Liam. And last night I watched the finale. Right, I know this morning you watched the finale of Winning Time. I'll go out and say, if not the definitive best show on TV, maybe it's tied with Succession. I'll say it. I'll say it. I'll put that out there. This show is every bit as good as, very different than, is every bit as good as, if not better than Succession. That's how good I think that this show is. I have been, and I'm not a huge Lakers guy. I'm not a huge Lakers guy, to be honest with you. Actually, my favorite all-time basketball player is Larry Bird. But this show, right from the opening scene of episode 1, the fourth wall breaking, which I thought, this is going to be stupid. Oh, no, wait, it's really freaking works. And then they go back to the fourth wall breaking in the finale. I mean, this is a show that works as a character study. It works as a comedy. It works almost as a mystery in some way, shape, and form. And I love by the time you get to the end of the season, because they had the finale last night, you're realizing I have been emotionally invested in and I care about the stories of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, of Dr. Jack, who owning and running the team, of West and his retiring from coaching and then kind of being the... By the way, Dr. Jerry Buss and West may be my 2 favorite characters on television right now. They may be my absolute, just the way Jerry West is walking back and forth behind the thing going, like all those guys. I'm like, I love this guy. I love this guy so much. 2 favorite guys. I found myself carrying and following very emotionally the story of James Irving Magic Johnson. I found myself really caring about the story of Cookie. I found myself really caring about the story of Genie Bus. You just realize this whole show, like Succession, even though on the surface, these are very, very different kinds of shows. But like Succession, you're realizing I love every one of these characters and I'm emotionally invested in what's happening with all of them. But on top of it, you have an excitement factor. I know the outcome of Game 6 of the 1980 NBA Finals, but even I was hanging on the edge of my seat watching the finale and stuff like that. It is a brilliant show. I contend the best thing on TV right now, maybe tied with Succession, and they finished it off. Ray, let me ask you, I think the finale did the show justice. I thought the finale was fantastic. What do you think about the finale?
There's something about the show that I've never seen before. I haven't watched a lot of TV shows, but they do things that I've never seen before, like the breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah.
The music, along with the crowd noise, just how they do the game, the quick cuts.
Yeah.
I think they blend in some of the real footage. Do you think, or does it look that good that it looks like real footage?
I think outside crowds, when they're there's a helicopter shot of a big crowd of people. I think they use some real footage just peppered in it, but I don't think they did for any of the game footage.
Despite, people are saying it's not really, it's like a over exaggeration or may not even be close to what really happened. It's an entertaining show. All the characters get their spotlight in the show. This is the one show where you have multiple favorite characters.
Yeah.
Just because everyone's so different from each other. And then, of course, if you're a basketball fan, just the basketball stuff is really cool, too. I love this show. It's great.
Rob, I know you've been following Winning Time. I don't know if you saw the finale yet because it just came out last night. But
Yeah, I've been forbidden because Elizabeth's been out of town. She's like, you
Oh, right.
can't watch anymore without me. And I'm like, she comes back today. It's like, thank God.
Oh, Elizabeth likes the show too?
She loves it.
Oh, nice.
And we're not sports fan. Like I've told you before on the show, I'm not the biggest sports fan in the world. I like watching sports, but I don't follow sports. I love movies and shows about sports. I always have. I remember seeing there's a great football movie called North Dallas 40. My dad took me to in like 1979. The Nick Nolte and Mac Davis. I loved it. Give me Slapshot, give me The Longest Yard, give me Any Given Sunday. This show is not only about the Lakers dynasty, it's wildly entertaining. The use of different cinematography techniques, editorial, the breaking of the fourth wall, the actors, dude.
oh, so good.
Come on. I mean, the cast of this movie. And, okay, there's some controversy as to how people are being portrayed. But if you put it, who doesn't love Jerry West? And Doctor, who doesn't? And it's just so much fun to watch. It's wildly entertaining. And from what I've seen, I haven't seen the finale, but it stayed entertaining. I mean, I thought the pilot was great. Could they sustain that? They did. And all the actors, like when they brought in Michael Chiklis, to play the guy who ran the Celtics.
Yep.
I mean, he was great. And then just there's Jason Segel, and I love this show. And like you said, it's definitely one of the best on TV.
Now,
It's
Chris,
great.
I can't remember. I know you and Logan are not really into sports ball.
He's into basketball very
he
much
is.
so.
Have you guys been watching?
We have not watched
Winning Time?
any of this.
Oh, you guys! I think
And-
even as a non-sports ball fan, I think you'd really enjoy
I
it.
love Adam McKay's stuff, so I think I would really enjoy this. And I know Logan wants to watch it. So now that we've got the finale, I think we'll just binge it. I literally have in my calendar for the next 2 days, please do nothing. Right there, do nothing. So I can just binge this show and finally know what is so good about it.
And by the way, I already said it, my all-time favorite basketball player is Larry Bird. I love the portrayal of Larry Bird in this thing.
Yeah, that's
he's
great.
such a badass.
He's
in the
in
show.
he's in
like
Magic
the Darth
Mind
Vader
all the time.
What's that?
He's like the Darth Vader of the show. He's like the
Well, it's funny because David Stern kind of makes that analogy too in it, but I love the Larry Bird character.
In history, though, Larry Bird was always seen as better than Magic Johnson in every way, like coming out of college. I mean, as in like that's why he won Rookie of the Year and all that stuff. So it's great to see them duel, like to see what them show what Magic Johnson thinks of him and vice versa.
Well,
I
they
really like-
saved Larry Bird and Magic Johnson saved the NBA.
Oh yeah, they definitely did.
Yeah, the two of them saved the NBA, and the NBA has ever since they've wanted the next Magic Larry, and they've never been able to do it because LeBron doesn't really have a contemporary. Kobe never really had a contemporary. Michael never really had a contemporary. And they've been desperate to get that Magic and Larry again, and they've just never really been able to do
think
it.
of the times back then too. It was like both players had their unique styles, way different from one another. Of course, you got the African American player and then the American player, and then you have like them just competing against each other. It was great for the sport and the TV.
John, that's something I wasn't aware of as much, and this show made me aware of it. I looked into the history of the NBA. I didn't realize the NBA was kind of hurting in the late 70s. Like it wasn't where it was supposed to be. I came from Seattle. The Supersonics won the championship the 78-79 season, but I didn't realize that it really was Magic Johnson and Larry Bird's rivalry that did bring the league back and turned it into where it is today. I thought, say what you want about the historical accuracy of the show, it made me want to go look up that element of it. And it's fun to go back and read about what really happened and how this played out. And to me, a show like this doesn't have to be totally accurate. It's more like a phantasmagorical, dream-like version of what happened because they're breaking the fourth wall. It's not like this is exactly the way it was. It's not like that. And I think it's leading people to go back, and there might be whole audience members, younger people your age, you millennials or even Gen Z going, was that true? And then you do your cursory Google search and you go down a rabbit hole and you look at old videos that are on YouTube, and it's pretty cool. I mean, I love it.
All right. Question is for you guys. Have you guys been watching Winning Time? If so, what is your thoughts about the series have been? I think it's just the best thing on TV right now. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, Let's move on to main topic number 4. Chris, what is our 4th main topic today?
4th topic comes from Manish. Good day, everyone. James Gunn went on Twitter and announced that Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was now done. But what is more interesting is that he says that there is an unannounced actor in the movie that they're still keeping hidden from the public. Are you excited for Guardians of the Galaxy 3? And who do you think this top secret actor is? Rob, what are your thoughts?
Well, Chris, first of all, I have loved both Guardians of the Galaxy movies. I loved Guardians of the Galaxy 2. People are like, it's not as good as 1. I'm like, I don't think so. I really like the idea of fractured families coming together. I love Kurt Russell. So, and I thought it was terrific. I mean, who would have thought only James Gunn would put ego in a movie?
Yeah.
I have no idea who the unnamed actor and unnamed character is. I mean, we know that Warlock is going to be in this. We know. So there's a character and an actor that has gone unannounced and a character that we don't know. Knowing James Gunn, it could have been the most obscure Marvel character ever. Like, I have no idea who it's going to be. I can't even speculate at this point. I mean, I never thought I'd see King Shark in a Suicide Squad movie.
Yeah.
So I unless I sat down and did some kind of deep dive into the Marvel pantheon of characters, whoever this character is, I'm sure it's a character that only James Gunn would come up with.
Absolutely.
I have no idea. I don't want to speculate, but it was really exciting. I mean, I love how James Gunn just casually goes, yeah, you know, Zoe Saldana's here, but I couldn't show her because she's in a picture with a yet unnamed actor who's in this movie. I mean, and now here we are talking about it, speculating on Monday morning.
What a tease.
They're brilliant at how they market this stuff. I mean, I'm just like, I'm excited. What about you, John?
Well, I mean, look, a lot of people speculated because he also shared a picture of Zoe Saldana with his fiance, who I forget the actress's name, but she's, you know, one of the stars of
Peacemaker.
Peacemaker, right?
Yeah.
And so a lot of people thought, oh, that's what you're talking about. But he clarified that no, it wasn't talking about her. So look, number one, it has to be somebody significant. It's not just going to be some kind of third level tier kind of like to specifically say it's an unnamed actor and we have to hide them. That tells so number one, it's got to be somebody significant. Number two, I think it's going to be somebody new because I don't think it's going to be Stallone reprising his role as the Ravager. I don't think
You would tell us.
Yeah, and he's already been there, right? So it's not that big of a secret. Plus, I think we heard he was going to appear in it anyway, right? So, I mean, Michelle Yeoh. It can't be Michelle Yeoh. She's already appeared in it. So she might be in it, but she's not the big thing. So I don't know if this is, I will say this, though. I think it's an MCU personality. I don't think it's somebody who's been in Guardians.
That's interesting.
But I will go out on a limb, like whether it's a Doctor Strange, and please, I'm not saying John Campea said it's going to be Doctor Strange. No. But I'm saying somebody like a Doctor Strange, somebody like a War Machine, somebody like Scarlett Johansson, somebody like, I mean, I again, I'm not saying who, but I think, again, number one, it's a big name. Number two, it's not somebody we've seen in Guardians already. But number three, I'm going to guess it's going to be a Marvel personality. I don't know, Chris, what do you think?
Well, I've just been thinking about how we keep hearing how this version of the Guardians, this is probably their last hurrah together, right?
Yes.
So we need to bring in some other Guardian characters. So I'm just hyped thinking like, is this going to be someone playing Angela? Could we finally get Beta Ray Bill? You know, I would die if we got Beta Ray Bill.
That would be
Ray.
I would be so excited. And so I don't care who plays these characters, truly. I just want these characters to show up because that is some really, really cool stuff that I want Marvel to play with. And I think James Gunn is the person to introduce somebody like a Beta Ray Bill. I hope that's there.
Let me ask this though. Would people lose their minds in a bad way though if you introduce Beta Ray Bill and it's not in a Thor property? Like I mean, or are people just so excited to get a Beta Ray Bill that hey, even if it's in Guardians of the Galaxy, because it is, you know, it's in space, that's okay. I don't know. What do you think, Rob? Will people accept that?
I think people might accept that because Beta Ray Bill has a pretty long history. I would think it's a little weird because I associate Beta Ray Bill with Thor, but it would be kind of a cool way to bring. It's funny, John, because I think that maybe Guardians is a better fit to introduce Beta Ray Bill than Thor because of the character.
Yeah.
You know, the character they haven't really done. I mean, in a way, Korg is nothing like Beta Ray Bill, but Korg was kind of this crazy, wacky, fun character that they've now brought into the Thor mythology.
Right.
So that's your wacky character. And if they brought in Beta Ray Bill, it might unbalance it all. But I could see them bringing Beta Ray Bill into. Now, by the way, I'm not saying they are. People are like Robert and John Campea said and Chris Carr said they're bringing Beta Ray Bill into the Guardians. I don't think that's the case.
And it's Andy Serkis playing him. There you go.
Dude.
There you go. Cracked it. By all means, spread that around the internet. I have broken the code. Andy Serkis was on set. He is Beta Ray Bill. There you go.
And he's already been in the MCU. So, you know.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Because I could, doing motion capture and he would be, I'd love that.
All right, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this whole situation? James is saying that, hey, we've wrapped Guardians 3, which is amazing. Also a movie that we never thought we were going to get after the whole fiasco a couple of years ago. So there's that, but also he says there's an unnamed actor that we cannot let people see. Who or what do you think that is? Whatever your thoughts are, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move into main topic number 5. Chris, what is our 5th main topic today?
This is from Sean Patrick Hines. So Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness looks like it'll be coming in with a domestic box office of $185 million and a combined worldwide total of $450 million. I was wondering, what hot toy will you be getting, Ray? This is an outstanding opening weekend. The real test is, can it sustain it next week? Thanks.
All right, so yes, it has happened. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness is opened. We did our review. We did our open spoiler discussion. We've got part 2 of the open spoiler discussion coming and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, last week we reported that Box Office Pro was projecting that it could be as high as 192 to 220, which exceeded what I thought it could be. But if it had hit 120, it would be a top 5 opening weekend box offices all time. Instead, it came in at $185 million, which makes it the number 11 all-time biggest opening in cinematic history.
Woo woo.
Now, I'm not quite sure, Rob, if you know how many movies have opened in cinematic history, but it's a big number.
It's a big number.
A lot of movies have opened, and it is the number 11 biggest opening. But maybe even more interesting is that, you know, producers and studios are always looking at trajectory of a franchise. You know, is it gaining momentum? Is it losing momentum? Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, Doctor Strange 2 made over double what the first Doctor Strange opened with. This comes to us from the folks over at Box Office Mojo, who write the following. The summer blockbuster season officially kicked off over Mother's Day weekend thanks to the Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness's whopping $185 million domestic bow. The latest chapter in the hand-over-fist Marvel Cinematic Universe instantly became the biggest box office debut of 2022, trouncing its crosstown DC rival, The Batman, and its $134 million opening just 2 months ago. Pulling in $90 million on Friday alone, it was clear right off the bat that Disney's eagerly awaited follow-up to 2016's Doctor Strange, again starring Benedict Cumberbatch in the title role, was a record-shattering pace. By the time the dust had settled and all the receipts had been counted, 2 days later, director Sam Raimi's first superhero film since wrapping the original Spider-Man trilogy back in 2007 had become the second highest grossing film in North America since the pandemic began, bested only by Spider-Man No Way Home. And once again, that comes to us from Box Office Mojo. And you know, one of the things that we talked about, like when I was saying prior to the movie opening that this movie does not have a chance really of catching Spider-Man No Way Home, part of it is because of the family-friendly nature of it or the lack thereof. And after seeing the movie, yeah, I mean, I think we told you guys a story that when we came out of our screening, we were approached by a family that watches the show, and they had their little guy with them who was traumatized.
Yeah. He tried to hand his Wanda toy to his
Yes,
mom during the movie.
It was so adorable. He had his Doctor Strange toy, he had his Wanda toy, and he was like totally like a deer stuck in headlights. Like he was and the mom said, yeah, he was a little scared by the Wanda stuff. And like they even told us that he wanted me to dress as Wanda for Halloween. He told me he didn't want me to do that anymore. I mean, just traumatized by it. So when you look at these numbers and you look at these results, considering, again, only 10 films in cinematic history have ever had an opening weekend bigger. The fact that it was really quite not family friendly because there are some horrific things in this. And the fact that it doubled the opening of the first Doctor Strange. listen, it wasn't the 192 to 220 that Box Office Pro was kind of projecting, but $185 million opening weekend for, again, a project and a character like this. This is remarkable. Chris, you had a chance. You see these numbers come in. What's your impression of it?
Oh man, it makes sense to me. I love this movie. I felt like this was going to do fairly well, based on what we saw from No Way Home. We wanted to continue that story. We wanted to learn more about this multiverse. I love this. I do think with the word of mouth, though, of how much horror is put into this movie, because it feels like a Marvel movie, but damn, does it feel like a Sam Raimi film.
Yeah.
Like it, and I love that. But if you're thinking of taking your like under 5-year-old kid, niece, or nephew with you, maybe pump the brakes. Maybe don't do that. And I do think that's going to kind of factor into how we see the legs on this box office move.
No, I agree with you. I think this movie. Now, let me ask you a question. So, I always go through Starbucks in the morning, and there is a cute barista who she's a genre fan.
Okay,
and she recognized I was a genre fan because she knew Marvin the Paranoid Android.
Yeah.
So whenever something like this happens, this morning she's like, "Did you see Doctor Strange?" And I said, "Yes, I did. I saw Doctor Strange." I said, "Well, what did you think of it?" And she goes, "I absolutely loved it." Now, I've noticed that the female fans I've talked to have universally been saying this is like their favorite Marvel movie.
Yeah.
The guys are not as high on it. Now, I thought it was a minor MCU movie in that it has all kinds of craziness, but it didn't feel as connected.
There's not big narrative consequences.
Not a bit, yes. But on the other hand, I love this as like a Hammer-esque horror Sam Raimi joint, to quote a Spike Lee term. And I thoroughly had a great time watching this movie.
Oh, absolutely.
And I watched it, and if you think about it, it's kind of about one friend trying to help another friend through a tough spot.
Yeah.
It's Doctor Strange trying to help his murderous friend from and by the way, she is possessed by the Darkhold. I mean, evil has completely corrupted her soul. So she does not know of what she does. And I like the idea that this idea of motherhood, how this has been a long time coming. She's been dreaming of the multiverse for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why Westview happened. That's why she conjured up her kid. She'd been dealing with this grief. And I for that alone, I think this movie has a lot more going on. I mean, everyone's trying to pigeonhole it and say, well, how does it fit to the larger MCU? And I'm like, I think what's cool about this movie is that it's kind of unto itself.
Right. Well, and as a comic book fan, don't you like a one-off every now and then? It's going to have consequences moving forward. But don't you love when you have an event as a comic book fan? You're like, oh, that was really rad. And now we'll get back to some bigger overarching stuff. I thought this was so fun. And it goes back to that kind of auteur thing, too, of letting a filmmaker do what they want to do within the MCU. It's still connected, but it has its own flavor, right? The MCU is like a really, really great album, and all these different movies are different tracks on it. They're going to have their own vibe.
Yeah.
All right, guys, the question is for you. What did you think about the box office results for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness? It more than doubled what the previous film had done, becoming the number 11 biggest box office opening of all time and eclipsing my second favorite movie of the year. Second? Yes. Second favorite film of the year so far, The Batman, as well. What do you guys make of all that? Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and leave your thoughts there. Hungry for some more movie discussion? Well, maybe you're just hungry. That's why you need our friends and sponsor of today's episode of the John Campea Show, the folks at HelloFresh. Hey guys, we want to take a moment and thank a sponsor of today's video, HelloFresh. So guys, look, my wife Ann and I were both working professionals, so we know how tricky, difficult, and time-consuming it can be to try to eat properly and prepare your own meals at home. And that's why, like over a year ago, we started using HelloFresh. With HelloFresh, you get farm-fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. I mean, you skip the trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and probably most importantly, affordable. HelloFresh offers the flexibility you need to easily customize your orders online or right in the app. Easily change your delivery day, food preferences, and plan size, or skip a week whenever you need to. HelloFresh is 72% cheaper than a restaurant meal of the exact same quality, and you can save on average over $65 a month when you order HelloFresh instead of going grocery shopping. So guys, I'm telling you, whether you are single or have a family, you are going to love HelloFresh. So go to HelloFresh.com/Campea16 and use the promo code Campea16 for up to 16 free meals and 3 free gifts. That's again, HelloFresh.com/Campea16 and use that promo code Campea16 for up to 16 free meals and 3 free gifts. HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. And a big thank you to our friends at HelloFresh for being a sponsor of today's episode of the John Campea Show. Ann and I love HelloFresh. We think you will too. Once you guys remember, when you guys support our sponsors, you're actually supporting the show as well. Check out their link and the promo code down in the description below. Okay, guys. With all that down, let's now move over and start taking your live comments or questions. The super chats are now open. They'll probably be open for another minute or two. If you got something you want to throw in that we'll read off, go ahead and do it now. So, Chris, what do we got going on in the super chats?
Okay, we've got a whole bunch of support here. CMG2491, thank you so much. Andy, 1 of 2. John keeps saying that Matt Reeves should keep the supernatural stuff out of the Batman, but watch him veer so far into the opposite direction that you see Sam and Dean pull up in their Impala on the streets of Gotham.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if you want to put that kind of supernatural, like
I wouldn't be mad.
The supernatural into the Batman, I won't be mad at all. Of course, they won't do it, and I wouldn't recommend it, but I'd totally be there for it 100%. All right, what's next?
All right, from Raymond. How to not traumatize American children. 1, don't kill your superheroes. Infinity War. 2, don't make your superheroes evil. Doctor Strange's Multiverse of Madness.
I mean, yeah, but you got to tell good stories. And I think in both cases, they told really, really good stories. And sometimes kids need to be traumatized a little bit, I think.
Give some character.
I mean, hey, listen, it's just, I remember watching my mom showed me on home video, the first Jaws movie, right? And that traumatized me. But it also kind of made me fall in love with movies a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, so there was that too. All right, what's next?
From Jay Blang, my God, those guns on Natalie. Let her punch me.
I
Ooh,
mean,
Jay.
she looks so good. She looks so freaking good. No denying. All right, what's next?
From My Comic Planet, regarding Winning Time Season 2, HBO has optioned Jeff Pearlman's book, 3 Ring Circus, Kobe, Shaq, Phil. Can you imagine how great it'll be to see the Shaq Kobe era in Season 2? Oh my God.
You know, that is a possibility, but I don't think they're going there. I definitely don't think they're going there for Season 2 for 2 reasons. Number 1, this season ends with Dr. Jerry Buss saying, let's do it again. I mean, and number 2, there's a lot of still hanging story there that needs to be addressed. But number 3, and maybe most importantly, is how the show starts. Because the show opens and begins with Magic Johnson and the doctors in the medical center finding out he has HIV.
Yeah.
And that's where the show starts. And then we go back and start from the beginning. And I don't think this show is going to jump eras until we build up to that point. So, hey, they may at some point may want to do a Winning Time Part 2. That's a totally different series that does cover the Kobe Shaq era and Phil Jackson era. They could very well do that, but I don't think they're going to do that anytime soon. All right, what's next?
From MP, for the Batman 2, I'm imagining a dark and gray sleek costume with glove spikes, upping the fear level. Classic Batman. Or do we get more of the same?
You know, I've never been one to care very much about the costume in the superhero movies. Don't get me wrong. I've definitely looked at some and say, well, that doesn't look so good. And others I say, that looks great. But at the end of the day, it doesn't affect me very much as far as how much I like or don't like a movie at all. I bring up Black Lightning all the time. Dumbest, most idiotic costume in superhero history. But I love the show. Love the show. So there's that. But I don't know, Rob, do you think there could be some weight of what they do with this, with Batman or the costumes moving forward?
You know, obviously they like to change the costumes because of merchandising. But if you look at the Christian Bale era, there wasn't much of a costume change between Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises, and it didn't bother me. I'll be curious, though, if in Matt Reeves' incarnation of the Batman, are they going to jump ahead like 2 or 3 years? And so Batman, we're going to see the evolution of the Batman into the Dark Knight that we know. And if they do that, and seeing how he will refine the Batmobile and refine his costumes, that could play into the actual narrative.
Yeah.
Which I think could be interesting.
That could be cool.
Yeah, like how does Batman refine as he, the first time he gets stabbed or something, he'd have to make changes into his. I think that'd be kind of neat to incorporate those changes into the narrative somehow. That could be cool.
On Batman 2, the only thing I ever really pay attention to is the cowl, how high the ears are, right? Where I'm like, oh, okay, we're getting something very Frank Miller this time, or we're going to do something a bit more Tim Salen style, too.
Right.
And that's where I just get to be an overeager comic book fan, though, of being like, oh, okay, so then we're probably going to pull from those stories, and then I have weird expectations.
Well, it's funny because Michael Keaton's ears are high. Mm-hmm. Ben Affleck's ears were low. And now we're back up to the high.
Yeah.
And
I do kind of like the low ones.
I the low ones, the low ones too. It just depends what you want your shadow to look like.
Exactly.
All right, what's next?
From James Argenta, the cameo in Guardians of the Galaxy will be the actor who voices Cosmo the space dog from first game of Guardians of the Galaxy film, hopefully with his Russian accent.
Okay, so nothing says it's a cameo.
Yeah.
Right.
Nothing says it's a cameo. It could be a full-fledged character in it. Listen, right from the beginning, I remember when we had Kevin Feige, James Gunn, and Chris Pratt in studio to talk about Guardians of the Galaxy, the biggest question in my head, and I put to Kevin and to James, is, are we getting Cosmo? And Kevin was, we'll see. And of course there was, but just a very, very brief glimpse. Cosmo is actually a very important figure in the comics. Mm-hmm. I don't know how you do Cosmo, but God, I would love it if they brought Cosmo into it. Yeah, I would love that. All right, what's next?
From My Comic Planet, now that Doctor Strange 2 is done, what is the next big storyline right now in the MCU? Young Avengers, Kang, Secret Wars, or something else?
I don't know. Right now, they haven't really given us a sense about what the next overarching kind of thing. I mean, obviously, the Celestials are a problem. Obviously, Kang is a problem. He's going to be popping up in Ant-Man 2. But right now, I kind of feel, it almost feels like they're focusing more on just individual stories, which is not a bad thing at all. That Doctor Strange 2 was definitely a self-contained individual story, even though, Chris, like you were saying, it's going to have overreaching ramifications for the rest of the universe, sure. So I'm not really sure. I still don't think Kang is the next Thanos. Personally, I think Wanda would rip Kang apart without much problem. So, so whether it's Celestials or a Galactus, or I don't know, but I just don't say. Have you been sensing a kind of an overarching story kind of coming to formation?
I don't know, because I don't know. I think, like you said, whoever they're going to add is going to be significant, and I like the thing about Kang and Wanda, again, Wanda and Thanos, Wanda had no problem standing toe to toe,
and that was before she had the Darkhold and became the Scarlet Witch.
Absolutely. I mean, Kang is a formidable force to be reckoned with, to be sure. But I don't know. I was talking about this today. Phase 4 of the MCU, John. I don't know where they're going. It seems like the universe is expanding with all this stuff. Now we've got Egyptian gods. How do the Egyptian gods relate to the Celestials? And does Gore the God Butcher? Is he going to wreck shop across time and space? I don't know what's happening. Whereas in the first phase, you understood they were building. Iron Man led to Thor, which led to Captain America, which led to Black Widow and S.H.I.E.L.D. and Nick Fury, to the Avengers Initiative. From the very first pre-title or post-title sequence, you knew that there was a direction. I don't know what direction the MCU is going in.
All right.
Now, I don't know.
All right, what's next?
From Andy, why doesn't John follow Rob on Instagram? His Instagram is awesome, and personally, it's a good break from the plethora of Instagram models in bikinis on my feed.
Well, first of all, thank you for describing my Instagram feed. Honestly, to be honest, I'm not on Instagram much. For those of you guys who follow me on Instagram, I only post once a week on Instagram. But yes, the next time I'm on Instagram, I will follow Rob. There we go. All right, what's next?
I'm going to make a special welcome John Campea video to post on Instagram once I see he follows me.
Kat Ninjak sends in support. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kat.
I'm in. I love Stephen Lang's character in Avatar, but I don't know how to feel about him coming back for the sequel, especially as a Na'vi. How do you feel?
I have no feelings of it until I understand what the context of it is. And so there's no point in me getting excited or upset about him being back when I have no idea what their story is about, how he came back, in what form is he back, all that kind of stuff. So to me, it's not an issue right now until I get more information. All right. Good question, though. What's next?
From Chef Rigo.
Chef Rigo.
Game week.
Game week.
Game week? Yes, the week you guys finally come eat.
Probably won't be this week. There's a reason for that. I may have to leave town, so it probably won't be this week. But soon, very soon, we are coming to eat there. All right, what's next?
From Andy, did you know that Batman carries the Lawnmower 4.0 in his utility belt?
That's right.
They don't call him the Manscaped Crusader for nothing.
You'll get swamp balls if you're not careful there, like wearing that outfit.
Yeah.
So you got to keep it nice and trim and tidy. Thanks to our friends at manscaped.com/Campea. All right, what's next?
Jamie Sundays, I would love to see a winning time version of how the first Star Wars was made. You think Disney would ever allow this?
That would really be more of the offer version of Star Wars more than it would be winning time.
Right.
Look, number one, it will not happen while George Lucas is alive. He's not interested in letting that happen. Two, it absolutely will happen after that horrible day I don't even like to think about when George Lucas is no longer with us. I think a lot of things with Star Wars will happen. For instance, I think suddenly his estate will let Disney put out the original Star Wars movies again. I think there's a lot of things that'll happen. Maybe a making of story about how Star Wars came together, because it is a fascinating story, but it won't happen while George is still with us. All right, what's next?
From Jay Bling, I dug the music in the Avatar too, mainly because I'm a sucker for underwater melodies.
Again, I don't know who composed it. Like Christian brought up on Friday, like who composed it? Because obviously
Yeah.
it's not Warner. So who did this one? I still don't know.
I don't know. It sounded a lot like the original music too. Maybe
Yeah,
they
which
went
makes
back.
sense.
Yeah.
It should. All right, what's next?
From Hero 75, what D&D class is Moon Knight? Is he a warlock, a paladin, or another class? These are the things we need to know, John.
I would say Warlock is probably the closest one. Like, I don't think he's a paladin. He could be a cross class, but I think Warlock or some kind of thing like that would probably be up there. Well, you know what? Paladin, really, when you think about the power set, Paladin is not completely out there. That's a good question. I'll ask my buddy Kyle Newman about that. He's my living, breathing, walking Star Wars or D&D encyclopedia. So I'll check it out with him sometime. All right, what's next?
From Wargaming Luke, watched the Avatar trailer before Strange and was moved. Watched it again today and shed a tear. Anyone who doubts the sequel is crazy. Not many movies hit my emotions like this. I'm stupidly hyped.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were caught by surprise that, we haven't thought about Avatar in nigh a decade. And to see that and all of a sudden you realize, oh my God, yeah, I really want to go back there. Like, again, the auditorium we were in with all film industry people and movie theater owners and stuff like that, there was a high emotional resonance in the air that you could really feel when that was on, and they went nuts for it.
That amazing couple that our movie theater owner that Aaron and I met, who have theaters in Juneau, Alaska, we're talking about how their great-great-grandpa ran Nickelodeons, and then if they could have seen Avatar with their great-grandpa, how moved they would have been. Like, it was just beautiful to have people in the industry talk about how emotional that trailer was for them.
All right, what's next?
From CMG2491, hey Campea crew, question. I've never seen Avatar. Should I wait till the eventual re-release and watch it in theaters or just stream it?
Nope, your first thing it was right on. They announced the CinemaCon. When is it, September?
September.
They are re-releasing the original in September, and this is a movie you got to see on the big screen. I personally don't think you have to see it in 3D, but it probably is the best 3D ever done. So whether it's in 3D or whatever, but either way, you got to see it on the big screen, wait for the re-release, see it then, and then watch the follow-up 2 months later. All right, what's next?
From Nairman, loved Multiverse of Madness. So did my friend who's never seen MCU.
Again, one of the great things about the MCU is that Kevin Feige has made every movie an entry point. But Multiverse of Madness is the most unlike that I've ever seen. Because honestly, if you didn't see WandaVision, this is the first time I've ever felt watching an MCU thing that, if you didn't watch X, you're not really going to be up to speed on what's going on here. Now, it wasn't absolutely necessary for you to watch the movie and go, okay, I get it. Okay, this, okay, that's the bad guy. Okay, and you're fine. But to really get what's going on emotionally there, you kind of had to have watched WandaVision. That's the first time I've ever sensed that. All right, what's next?
From Suthius, me watching WandaVision. Oh, poor thing. I feel for her. She doesn't deserve any pain and grief. Me watching Multiverse of Madness. This bitch is crazy.
Yeah, we can't really talk about that much, but you're not alone in that. All right, what's next?
Danito sending in some a super chat here. Many thanks. Many say they didn't like Multiverse of Madness because not many cameos. I agree, stupid. But you often say no experience is less than as film is subjective. What do you think?
Well, I mean, here's the thing. A lot of people thought the movie, they forgot. I think there might have been some confusion there because a lot of people thought the name of the movie was Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Cameos. And so a lot of people went in just wanting to see 55 various cameos. Because I heard from people writing to me saying, they only had like 6 cameos. Like, blah, blah, blah. It's like, look, whatever gives you a great experience. But I want to propose to you that one fleeting jolly because a random face that doesn't add to the overall story popping up and gone, you may think that's going to give you an overall great experience. It won't. It really won't. Maybe for a second or two. Pay more attention to story. And the way they use cameos and the amount of cameos that they use in this, I thought was perfectly handled. Again, I've got my issues with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. I don't think it's a top 10 MCU film. But I think the way they managed cameos and making sure the cameos they had some relevant plot progressing role to play in the film, I thought they did it well. And I think if you just were going in looking for cameos, watch a YouTube video. I mean, you'll get more of those there. All right, what's next?
Irene Jobson sending in some support.
Thank you, Irene.
Abdul Ali. Hey, everyone. When I was watching Strange 2 yesterday, my showing was advertised for 4:40. The movie started at 5:10. 30 minutes of ads. It's getting ridiculous at this point.
Look, again, I'll mention what happened at CinemaCon. I think it was the Paramount CEO finally came out and said, this is the first time I ever heard a studio head say this. Movie theaters, cut back on the effing ads. You are ruining the movie-going experience. And by putting so many trailers before a movie, you're lessening the effect of the trailers because he said studies are showing they don't have retention. People don't even remember which trailers they watched. So they're ruining the movie-going experience. They're advertising one show time when really it's not till a half hour later. It's ridiculous. They need to change this and change it quick. All right, what's next?
From That Wrestling Hound. Beta Ray Bill, went through puberty for a second really quick. Wow, my phone's finally dropped, guys. Yay. Beta Ray Bill is my favorite superhero ever, and I really hope that he shows up in Thor 4 or Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I loved seeing his face show up on that tower in Ragnarok. I just want him in the MCU so bad.
Listen, I remember talking to friends of mine when the first Thor was coming out, and all they talked about was, Beta Ray Bill's got to be in this. Beta Ray Bill's going to be there. Beta Ray Bill, Beta Ray Bill, Beta Ray. People, I'll be honest with you, I'm shocked that we're 14 years into the MCU and we still haven't got Beta Ray Bill. Considering a lot of people were screaming for him right from that first Thor movie, it's got to come soon. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if it's in Guardians. I'm not saying it's going to be, but I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised at this point.
The kind of thing that James Gunn would want to tackle.
It totally is.
It's so James Gunn to do that. So maybe we'll see it.
All right, what's next?
From Mike Who, Franklin Flippin Richards. All I'm saying, after...
Okay, we move on. We move on. Nope.
Harv's K. Harv's K. Multiverse of Madness, B+ cinema score is great for a horror film, but not so much for an MCU film. I expect a 60 to 70% drop next weekend.
Well, listen, here's the thing. Whenever, how big was the drop for Spider-Man No Way Home? Whenever you have a movie that makes over $140 million at the box office, you can expect a larger than normal drop off the second week because everybody went out to see it. You don't get that kind of numbers. I think Endgame itself had a 66% drop, which for most movies, that's a terrible drop. But everybody saw it on the first week. So yeah, I would expect that, but I don't think that's something that should be taken all that negative when we do, because again, $185 million worth of people went to go see it this weekend. So I'd expect a significant drop off second, but I don't think you should read anything into that, to be honest. All right, what's next?
From Al Renshaw, I think we see Gore kill Zeus and the gods.
Well, I think the very fact that the character's called Gore the God Butcher and then they go out of their way to show us Olympus and Zeus, yeah, I think that's the opening. We said this before, I think that's the opening scene of Thor Love and Thunder.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to see, they're going to intro the movie showing a bunch of gods and then Gore killing them all. So yeah, I think you're absolutely right. All right, what's next?
From Murray Reich, had a very good time seeing Doctor Strange 2, although I was very upset that the preview started 6 minutes after the 8:10 start time, and then after 20 minutes of trailers, they had the nerve to play a 2-minute ad, 2 of 2, of Aaron B., then another trailer, then an ad of Regal Unlimited, and then the movie finally started at 8:40. I paid $20. So much for improving movie-going experiences.
Again, movie theaters, listen up. You fucking idiots. You are ruining the movie-going experience. Like, look, we like trailers. We all like trailers. I made a damn documentary about trailers.
Now streaming.
Love trailers. You know what I don't love? I don't love being told that a showtime is a certain o'clock and then showing up, the movie doesn't start till 25, 30 minutes later. That's bullshit. This isn't a free screening that you're paying for with ads. We paid to be in these theaters. We paid you for a movie. 5, 10 minutes. You know, the ArcLight, Rob, they used to have a rule at the ArcLight cinemas, RIP ArcLight cinemas. Straight up, 3 ads, movie time.
3 trailers.
3 trailers, movie time. That's it. Go. And they got to get back there. Like I'm sorry to harp on this all the time, but I'm reminded of this every time I go to the damn movies now, that I'm always looking at my watch. And the one time I'm like, well, I'll go in 20 minutes late. Well, that's the one time they went, no, we're teasing. We're going to pull a fast one on you. We're going to start only 15 minutes. And I missed the first 5 minutes of the movie. F you guys. F the movie theaters. Like, you guys got to get your shit together here, because you're a bunch of fucking incompetent clowns. Am I sounding upset about this? I get really wound up about this issue. People pay to see a movie. They paid you the money. Give them the goddamn movie. Okay, there's that. What's next?
From John Polacito, some support. Thank you, John Paul. Alex Mata, besides your most anticipated MCU movie this year, what is your guys' most anticipated MCU show this year?
Oh, I can't remember what's coming out now.
We've got Ms. Marvel coming up.
Yeah, really looking forward to that.
Are we getting Echo this year, or is that next year? They're filming Echo, I think.
That wouldn't be on my list anyway.
Yeah.
I'd say mine was like going into the year. I think my most anticipated. When did Falcon Winter Soldier come out? Was that this year? That was okay. So, probably would have been Moon Knight, I guess.
Yeah, for me it was Moon Knight, but like with you, what you just said, I'm really looking forward to She-Hulk.
Yeah.
When does that come out, though?
I don't know, but I
Is it
think
this
it's
year?
this year.
If it is, I am kind of stupid excited about She-Hulk.
Because from what I've heard, you know, the meta nature of it, the breaking the fourth wall, I'm hoping it'll be the winning time of the MCU shows,
So,
you know.
Late 2022, so November, December, or potentially January of 2023.
Okay, so I'll say Moon Knight. If She-Hulk does come out this year, I'll say She-Hulk. All right, what's next?
From Hero 75, one of 2. Ant-Man and the Wasp, Thor and Mighty Thor, and others. It seems like the MCU is adding a lot of power couples with the same type of power. I'm concerned about that, but I do have faith in the MCU to do it right. How do you feel about this pattern?
Well, I mean, as long as it's like, look, Ant-Man and Wasp, they were founding members of the Avengers in the comics, if I'm not mistaken. So it's not like they're going out of the way to manufacture this. These are actually straight right out of the comics. So I don't mind it if it's done well. In Ant-Man and the Wasp, it was done well. It narratively made sense. It followed the story, and it worked, even though I don't like Ant-Man and the Wasp quite as much as the first Ant-Man, but still I enjoyed it a lot. And I'm actually getting kind of excited about this. Rob, what do you think about it?
Look, I completely agree. I mean, what's not to be excited? It doesn't bother me that there's like power couples in the MCU, because I love buddy cop or buddy, whether it's Lethal Weapon, you know, whether it's 48 Hours, whether it's Midnight Run, or what, just team 2 people up. And if they happen to be, you know, if you've got Jane Foster and you've got Thor teaming up, if it's done well and they have a great dynamic, that makes for a lot of entertainment in terms of storytelling. And as long as it's done well, I'm in.
All right, what's next?
From Harv's K, Multiverse of Madness B+ cinema score is great. Oh, we've read this one.
Okay, yes.
Nate Cook. Hey, John, saw Doctor Strange last night, and I loved all of it. We'll skip the rest of that because that's a spoiler.
Yep.
Mark Netto. No reaction to my theater, nor was it full on Thursday afternoon for Doctor Strange.
Hey, listen, every single theater is like a snowflake. Every single movie theater for every single screening of any movie is going to be completely unique. You will get some that have no reactions. You'll have some that'll go bananas and start tossing their hats in the air.
Yeah.
I mean, it really depends. So, I mean, that's cool that happened with yours. I mean, I had a lot of reactions both times in my theaters.
Yeah.
So what about yours?
Our theater, when we all went together, they were so fun. The people behind us were adorable.
Oh,
They'd be
yeah.
like, they just said the thing. It was great.
Yeah, but I mean, but that means no matter how, I mean, listen, I absolutely guarantee you, the portal scene in Endgame, there were some movie theaters that were dead quiet when that happened. 100% guarantee that happened, because every theater has its own unique dynamic, and every particular screening does too. All right, what's next?
From CMG2491, over under 60% you've already caught Ray asleep on your couch in your office, John.
No, Ray doesn't go into my office.
Yeah.
Ray doesn't go into my office. But, if he needed it, it's there.
That couch looks juicy, though. Sometimes I'm looking at it, I'm like, man, how comfortable is that couch? How much drool can it hold?
I'm not going to lie. We have had to replace cushion covers on our couch at home
John.
because of drool marks.
Oh my God. The attraction from the ladies just went up. They're like, I gotta have that next to me.
But I will say this too. The couch in my office, I ain't dumb. It's a pull-out couch. You can turn that into a little bed in there. So if anybody needs to crash for like an hour in between tapings, it's there to do. All right. What's next?
From Al Renshaw, I watched the Jack versus Raccoon fight from Incredibles 2 this morning and still love it. The baby is so cute. What are your favorite scenes, and do you think we will ever see an Incredibles 3?
I don't think we're ever going to see Incredibles 3. I think if we were going to, we would have heard something by now. I loved Incredibles 2.
I did too.
I don't know how I compare it to the first Incredibles, but oh my God, that Raccoon and Jack stuff. That it was great. I really did enjoy that movie a lot, but that is probably my favorite scene.
Yeah, I mean, I no scenes necessarily stand out to me other than I just love both of those movies. I mean, they're the closest thing we've got to a pure Fantastic Four film,
Right.
I just those movies were so clever and so fun to watch. I go back to the no capes.
No capes. Edna Mode.
And that was great. That was so funny. I mean, and then the montage of why capes were bad. I mean, I know that's in the first one, but still,
Yeah.
I love those movies. I'm gonna go watch them again.
Over under 13%. Bird is announced as the director of Fantastic Four. Brad Bird gets announced. The director of The Incredibles, Incredibles 2, directs Fantastic Four. Over under 13%.
Over?
I'll go over too, just because I want that to happen.
Yeah.
All right. What's next?
From Mr. Holdbrook, would you consider having Jeremy Johns guest star on an episode?
No, because Jeremy lives in Seattle. So, I mean, if you guys follow me on Twitter, you'll know that we were in Vegas for CinemaCon. And out of nowhere, some guy comes behind me, taps on my shoulder, and goes, "Hey!" And I turn around, and there's Jeremy. And we just kept running into him through the whole thing. But yeah, Jeremy is in Seattle, and on the John Campea Show proper, we are not doing remote Skype-in guests on this stuff. So hey, next time he's in town, I mean, absolutely, but it would have to be for him visiting LA for something.
He might be filming John Wick 5 too. I'm not sure.
Yeah, he's got his Keanu look going on right now.
And John, if you did follow me on Instagram, you would see a video of you, Chris, and Jeremy when we talked in Vegas.
That's right. But I was there. So yeah, I kind of knew about that.
But you could relive the moment again and again and again.
All right, what's next?
From Rob's Moist Sack of
Oh,
Hot
boy.
Toy 69.
Yes.
Love Doctor.
Well, good. We
All right.
love Doctor too. All right, what's next?
Excellent.
My Hot Toy sacks are not moist. That would be
That'd be
damaging
terrible
to
for
the
the
Damaging. That would be
toys.
bad for the
Yeah.
toy.
These are investment.
Reduce the value.
Raymond Gonzalez. OMG, John. Saw you at B-Dubs Friday afternoon. I wanted to say hi, but my wife was like, don't be that guy. Love your show and much love to everyone.
Yes, we were at Buffalo Wild Wings. So we went to go see Doctor Strange again. It was me, Ann, and our business partner, Scott, who helps us do a lot of our business stuff here with the John Campea Show. And we went there before our screening. We tried to go to Yard House, but it was an hour-long wait. So we went into B-Dubs, hit the bar. And we were in there for it. I do like B-Dubs, as a matter of fact. Yeah, by all means, come up, say hi, whatever. You can be that guy. All right, what's next?
From the Vlogger Dude. Can't wait to go to 40X this Friday. Late birthday celebration.
Still never been in a 4DX theater.
They're fun.
What's the basic gist of it?
So it's kind of like being at Universal Studios. You're in a chair that moves around too.
Oh, wow.
That
So
sounds cool.
I had seen, the first time I did one of these was one of the Lord of the Rings films, which was so exciting and really, really fun. And then we saw Sonic 2 this way when we got the early screening of it. And so you feel like gusts of wind and stuff. For Eternals they did, and there'd be
Yeah.
like smoke plumes coming out. It's fun. If
Nice.
you get motion sick, don't do it, but you know.
I might have to try it. Okay.
For Avatar, at least.
Yeah.
For Avatar, sounds like a good movie to watch in there.
Like the original Avatar?
No,
they
the
put-
Avatar. I'm not ever watching the original Avatar ever again.
Why?
That movie's in the past. It should stay in the past. Let's move on, man. We've been waiting for the sequel for a long time.
You
They
know
want
what?
us to go
That's
back.
a great
For what
tagline
reason?
for our movie club show. The movie's in the past. Leave it in the past. Let's just move on. All right, what's next?
From Taki75. Captain Carter is the first ever original character in the history of comics who managed to appear in comic books, TV, and
All right, yep. Yeah, next up. Well, no, that's
Well,
not
we
really
kinda
because
know
I mean they
that.
put her in the poster.
That's true.
They did show her in one of the trailers, so that's
Yeah.
kind of fine. Yeah, I mean, again,
trying to tread lightly.
although I will say, I mean, we found this was in the trailer. Like when they first announced Captain Carter, or when we first realized Captain Carter was going to be there because we saw her shield on one of the posters. I remember we discussed about will it be an animated Captain Carter because there's an animated world that we see in the trailer, or it'll be live action. I didn't think they do live action, but as we saw in the trailer, it was live action, and they did that. So, and you called it. You thought it would be live action.
Yeah.
So you called that.
And they did announce a Captain Carter hot toy.
Ooh.
All right, what's next?
From Sebastian, I don't know if it was because I saw it on a TV or just unfinished rendering, but the Avatar CGI looks like game console quality, not realistic.
Hey, listen, your perception is your perception, and you're entitled to it. I completely disagree, but if that's how you saw it, that's how you saw it.
Well, and also realistic, like those real Na'vi you see in real life, the real blue aliens you see.
Yeah, I still thought they looked pretty damn photorealistic. Like when they're
Yeah.
running beside the human kid and everything, it's like I thought it was indistinguishable.
Yeah.
The detail in their eyes alone. is
Plus,
just like,
go back 13 years and look at the original Avatar. I mean, it was pretty damn good looking.
Yeah.
Pretty flawless.
But now we've come forward a lot. All right, what's next?
From Suthius, I was looking at the other movies around the 108 million weekend box office openings, and their first to second day drop-offs were only in the 10 to 20%. Multiverse of Madness almost 40% dropped off from Friday to Saturday.
Again, it's a whole thing about how fast are people rushing out to see it. And that's a huge thing. And it changes over time as viewing patterns behave and stuff like that. So look, here's the thing. People bought their tickets in advance. I would never try to look for patterns in the opening 72 hours because people just bought their opening weekend tickets for when they could get tickets and when they could go. So there's not really a lot of information to glean there. The bigger thing is, what is it from first weekend to second weekend? That's the real first number we can kind of glean anything from. But again, expect a 60+% drop because that's just what you get when you get movies with this big of an opening weekend.
And Marvel has traditionally a much bigger percentage of front-loaded box office grosses.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
they do. Yep. All right, what's next?
From Evan, Doctor Strange was terrible. Oh, I'm sorry you feel that way, Evan.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you're not alone. Like, no
Yeah.
movies for everybody. This is not. I don't believe this is a top 10 MCU film. I think it's still quite good and quite entertaining, but not everybody does, and it didn't work for you. That's cool. All right, what's next?
From Chuck the Mystery. Hey, John, when you start doing after shows, will you be doing Succession? Looking forward to that Shiv and Tom Godfather moment.
Yes, I think when Succession returns, we're definitely going to be doing open. I get it. Everybody keeps telling me because I always call them open spoiler discussions. John, either call it a recap or call it an after show because that's what it is. So fine, we're going to change the name of those to after shows. But when Succession comes back, yes, that will be one of the shows that we do an after show for. Definitely. All right, what's next?
From Mrs. Butterworth. Am I the only one who thinks Marvel won't go back to the TVA until Loki season 2? While I love the show, it touched on concepts that should be far-reaching in the MCU, but I feel like it'll be glossed over.
No, you're not the only one. I think a lot of people don't. I don't believe at all we're going to even hear about the TVA.
I think Marvel right now is like, I don't know what we do with that.
Yeah, I don't think at all we're going to hear about the TVA until we go back to Loki. Let me put it this way. I'll be surprised. Not totally shocked, but I'll be surprised if anybody else mentions the TVA before we get there. Now, of course, in Ant-Man 2, with Kang being there is a possibility TVA gets brought up there. But if not there, definitely not until Loki season 2. Absolutely. All right, what's next?
From Jamie Sundays, I'm really liking The Offer on Paramount Plus.
Still haven't started watching it, but I got into it. I know you watched the first couple episodes. You liked it.
I'm caught up through episode 4. Now, here's the thing. It is not great, and it's not necessarily historically accurate, but I kind of love it,
All right, I'll have to check
if
it
that
out.
makes any sense.
Other than
I
those
love
two,
Juno.
minor.
Everybody, I'm just enjoying watching it and the acting. I really like the acting. There's something, and it's about The Godfather, my favorite movie. So
All right, what's next?
From Fifi, the Guardians of the Galaxy 3 special character is Stallone as Judge Dredd.
Yeah, I mean, as well, yeah. Again, it's probably not Stallone because he's already part of the things, but I mean, Judge Dredd. I think everybody wants to forget Stallone's Judge Dredd. I know I do. Carl Urban's Judge Dredd is far superior.
Superior.
All right, what's next?
From Victor, Mystery Men was ahead of the game. Where's the sequel? Just saying.
I mean, look, I've said for years whenever people ask me, what is a sequel to an older movie that you never got that you'd really want? And I always say one of two things. Megaforce.
Dude, you're out of your mind.
And okay,
Out of your mind.
Okay, Gods of Egypt boy. I will say Megaforce. Life is a wheel. It all comes around. That's right, Ace. The damn hero's name is Ace. That makes it an all-time top 20 movie. So either Megaforce or Mystery Men. And you're right, Mystery Men was way ahead of its time. Like way ahead of its time. But it's never going to happen. But God, I would love it if they did.
You know, I will say this. A remake of Megaforce could be kind of cool.
Or, I mean, it'll still come across as a poor man's G.I. Joe, but I'd be up for a remake as well. All right, what's next?
From Jared, I don't think it was an accident that Doctor Strange 2 was called Multiverse of Madness and released on Mother's Day weekend. My mom said it was a good Mother's Day movie because a mother's love can sometimes be terrifying.
Yeah. Look, I'll say my mom's in the hospital right now. My mom would love this movie. So I wasn't going to bring it up, but I'm not going to be able to get around this now. So when I said early in the show, I'm probably not going to be here a lot this week, is because I'm probably needed to fly home. And but I agree. I think when I saw this movie, I thought my mom loves these. My mom loves these movies, and when I saw Doctor Strange, when I saw this film, I just remember thinking my mom would love this film, and I really do. I think a lot of moms would get a kick out of it. So, yeah, there we go. So, sorry, I know I just threw a wrench in the whole show. Sorry about that, but let us continue on, shall we? What is next?
From Mr. Holdbrook, would you feel Scarecrow would work in Matt Reeves' version of Batman?
Oh, for sure. I mean, he worked in Nolan's version. I mean, how would you do him?
Well, I would lean into I'd make him scarier, make him more psychotic. I mean, it was interesting because when you first meet him in Batman Begins, he's very clinical and he's very, Cillian Murphy plays him very, like, he's scary. Mm-hmm. But I would make him much more horrific, show him experimenting on people, like literally have him be some kind of, not necessarily a serial killer, but he's captured people and he's experimenting on them and make him terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, kind of the way they did him in Arkham Asylum.
Yeah.
He's really, really chilling in that.
Okay, what's next?
From Gwendell Newton, sending in a $20 super chat. So thank you so
Gwendell.
much. Hey guys, saw Doctor Strange 2 on Friday night. Wasn't what I was hoping for, but still a good movie. 7 out of 10 for me. But I do believe it left the door open for mutants and other characters after picking it apart. There were a lot of hints.
I mean, again, we're still at the question, though, about how is Kevin Feige going to bring mutants into it? Because from what we can tell, there are two primary options, and each of these two primary options have several branches off from it. Primary option number one, they're here. How have they been here? And we've not known it. So that's another question. So they're here. Primary option number two is they get brought into our universe. Well, that's problematic. And without going into details, Doctor Strange 2 makes that option even more problematic. When you understand one of the big problems that they say multi-dimensional, multiverse stuff causes. So I am still left today, Rob, very unsure about how they're going to do that. And Multiverse of Madness really didn't make it any more. As a matter of fact, it just made it seem like more of a conundrum to me than before. What do you think?
I agree with you. I mean, I don't like the idea of mutants coming from another dimension. I've been thinking more and more about it, that one of the things that they could have the idea of the mutant gene manifesting. We see the actual manifestation when people start mutating, but then I always think about the fact, well, Apocalypse was a mutant in ancient Egypt, and I'm like, I like the idea that they're already here but then, John, the mutants are so huge. There's so many of them, and they have such a rich history in the MCU. It feels odd to me that we're getting Eternals before we're getting X-Men. And, there's so many key characters, whether it's Cyclops or Storm or Wolverine or Jean Grey. These are foundational Marvel Universe characters, and we don't have them in the MCU. And it's getting to be a glaring omission to me. And I don't know how they're going to do it.
Yep, that's why Kevin Feige gets paid the big bucks. All right, what's next?
From Hero75, I'm starting a new job tomorrow, so I will not be able to watch live until I finish training. Wish me luck and keep up the great work.
Well, first of all, it's always exciting to hear when somebody starts a new job. That's a great new adventure. So congratulations, man, and best of luck to you. I hope it goes well for you. All right, what's next?
From Jedediah Elias, hearing nothing about Firestarter sucks because the trailer looks really good. What's your favorite Stephen King adaptation? Loved It, 2017.
I mean, yeah, the new It was really quite fun. Not so much part 2, but the first one was really good.
It was good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Look, Peacock, this is the last vestige of a day and date release because Peacock is putting this on theaters and on Peacock at the same time. So to me, that tells me the movie probably sucks. But I mean, I don't know. We'll see. Look, it's got Zac Efron in it. I love the story of Firestarter. I'm not going to lie. My hopes aren't very high right now. Either of you guys excited about this movie right now?
I mean, I remember reading the book. I read the book waiting in line to see Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, wow.
When it came out, I had the hardcover, and I love the book. I mean, the movie was okay. The first movie with Drew Barrymore. This looks pretty good. Zac Efron in a dramatic role. He looks great as the father. I want it to be good. As for my favorite Stephen King adaptations, I'd say Stand By Me and Shawshank Redemption.
Oh, yeah.
All right, and they're sort of atypical, but I think there's been Misery is a great Stephen.
Misery's a great one.
Misery's so good.
Dolores Claiborne is one that doesn't get mentioned.
The Outsider from HBO.
That was really
so well done.
That was really good.
Oh.
The original Carrie, Brian De Palma's Carrie.
But,
all right, guys. We are. I mean, we're not out of time yet, but we're getting there. So we're gonna have to start going a little bit quick through these things. So, all right, what's next?
Alrighty, from Blackjack Hooligan, with the success of The Doctor, who do you think this might create a renaissance? Hail to the king, baby.
Oh yeah, it's funny because I don't think Raimi has directed anything since Oz the Great and Powerful.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I think Oz was, and that was 2013. Now he's been busy producing and doing stuff like that, but I certainly hope. I love Sam Raimi's. Oz the Great and Powerful wasn't the greatest movie of all time, but I got a big kick out of that film. Drag Me to Hell was really fun.
That was fun.
So I really hope this reignites in him a passion for being in the director's chair. If so, we'll see where it goes. But I hope so, man. I really do. All right, what's next?
From Vincent, I'm excited about the next 10 years of Marvel. Woo.
Dude, I'm excited about the next 10 weeks of Marvel. I mean, we got Thor, Love and Thunder coming. It's going to be, but again, I will say this. I enjoyed Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. It's a good movie, again, not top 10, whatever, but I liked it. But I will, again, mention my apprehension that while I enjoyed it and had fun and I think it worked, I am more apprehensive today than I ever about Marvel leaning too much into multiverse. To me, multiverse is, what did they say? I can't remember what movie they talk about that. The greatest empires are never defeated from without. They decay from within. And then it is truly destroyed. I can't remember which that was from. And I feel like leaning into multiverse is Marvel destroying itself. And again, I know some people really dig multiverse stuff, but as you now start to create these worlds where nothing matters, there's no consequences, kill 18 versions of the character, doesn't matter, we got 85 more of them. Not working here, no problem. Multiverse hop, get the solution from there, bring it here. I mean, I am worried about them doing that, so we'll see. I'm just nervous. About it. All right, what's next?
From CMG2491, should I get the 2020 or 2021 MacBook Pro, John, for editing in Adobe Premiere?
I'm trying to figure out when did the M1 Pro and the M1 Max come out? Honestly, look, forget the 2020. Get the M1 Pro or the M1 Max version of the MacBook Pro. They are absolute savages for video editing on laptops. I mean, that's the one you get. So I can't remember if that came out in late 2021, if it came out 20, whatever it is, either M1 Pro or the M1 Max. If you can afford the Max, get the Max. If not, the Pro is a super beast as well. Those are the ones to get. All right, what's next?
From Jordan Ellis, 7 out of 10. Overhyped. Trailer ruined movies, cool moments. Please God, don't ruin Thor, Disney. Leave the trailer alone and let us be surprised. Don't see this having legs in the long run, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I don't necessarily disagree with what he just said about, the trip, but here is the reality. Marvel looked at how Sony handled the marketing for Spider-Man No Way Home. And I don't know if you noticed this, but the marketing for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness looked a hell of a lot like the marketing for Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yep.
With the patterns of when they released trailers, how many TV spots they put out, showing certain moments and all that kind of stuff. And certainly the trailers for Multiverse of Madness held back the biggest plot points and the biggest spoilers. They held those back, but they showed a lot. And I think Disney looked at Sony's marketing Spider-Man No Way Home and said, second biggest opening in cinematic history, sixth biggest film in box office history. The way they did the marketing worked real well.
Yeah.
And so they kind of mimicked that for Doctor Strange. And that went from being a movie that nobody was talking about to being the 11th biggest opening in cinematic history. Listen, I'm not saying this is a good thing, but you're going to see Marvel starting to market the movies a lot more like that because the evidence is there. It worked.
Totally agree.
I don't necessarily like it, but I can't argue that it worked. So I don't. Do either of you guys see that? Do you disagree with that?
No, I think you're spot on. I mean, you can't argue, like you say, winning cures everything. You can't argue with success. And let's face it, with Black Widow, Shang-Chi, and Eternals, they haven't got those box office results. Doctor Strange is going to blow past Shang-Chi this week, and you have to ask yourself, is it the marketing that did it? And the answer is probably yes.
All right, what's next?
From Phoenix Arising, sending in an almost $20 super chat.
Thank you, Phoenix.
Hey, John, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think a lot of people are confusing the multiverse, the Loki series timeline branches. Isn't multiple universes versus multiple timelines two different things?
Listen, look, Kevin Feige at the premiere for Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness said in an interview on the red carpet that the events of Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness are made possible because of the events of the Loki series. He said it. But it makes no sense. Like right now, the whole concept of multiverse within the MCU is filled with contradictions. And when I say contradictions, I mean contradicting stuff that has been done, said, and exhibited in previous MCU movies. The Ancient One, for example, has said that the multiverse has always been there. It's and she's the Ancient One. Right? I mean, so that does not line up with what Kevin Feige is saying now. So look, of course, I trust in Kevin Feige. He's got a big grand plan. But right now, the whole concept of multiple timelines and multiverse and all that kind of stuff are really convoluted. They're filled with their own contradictions right now. And it's going to be interesting to see how they kind of smooth this all out. Or if they're just going to pretend like other stuff didn't happen, which I'm okay with. I mean, it's unfortunate if you have to do that, but I get it. All right, what's next?
The Watcher of AZ. Love the horror take on Doctor Strange. Some Carrie in it.
I got to tell you what, I wondered how it would work within an MCU film, but it really did work. I thought that part was great.
And, when she starts wrecking shop, when she starts wrecking shop, I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, she was a horrific Carrie, that's a very apropos, because Carrie is a sympathetic character, Carrie White, Stephen King's Carrie. And when she, she's pushed beyond her limits and she carries out. And I liked that aspect of this movie.
All right. What's
Elizabeth
next?
Olsen was so good.
So good. So good. If the Academy Awards are tomorrow, she gets nominated for Best Supporting Actress.
She's incredible.
I don't know if she will by the end of the year, but tomorrow she would. All right, what's next?
From Quindell again, a $20 super chat. Thank you so much. Hey guys,
there's
the same
AMV
one?
fan.
AMV fan 15. What is your opinion on One Piece adaptation from Netflix?
Never watched it.
One Piece is a very, very big anime, so many filler episodes.
Yeah, but
it's huge,
the adaptation's not out, is it?
The adaptation's not out yet. They've just announced that they're doing a live action. I believe they've started casting people. I just don't understand why you always need a live adaptation of something. just watch the show. That being said, I'm one of the weird people who loved the Cowboy Bebop live action. I thought they did their own thing and that was fun. I just feel like too many anime fans get mad that their adaptations aren't then exactly like the anime. And if that's what you want, just watch the anime.
Isn't One Piece like 1,000 episodes?
It's so long. It's so many. I still haven't finished this show.
So Ray is already looking it up.
Yeah.
He's bookmarking it
but
right
they're only
now.
going to do three seasons anyway. So how good can it be?
Probably, yeah.
All right, what's next?
Now from Quindell. We've read this one though, I believe already.
Oh, thank you, Quindell, again.
Yeah, Victor, sports star you'd like to see a biopic of? For me, it's Ray Lewis.
Ray, definitely with certain things that happened in his life would be interesting. I mean, I kind of just said it. Larry Bird.
Yeah. Which, by the way, probably more than ever, that might happen.
because of Winning Time.
You could do a spin-off of Winning Time and make it the Larry Bird biopic.
Yep.
Or bio series.
Something like that.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
From Sam Fisher, when am I free to resend Multiverse of Madness spoilers through stream elements or super chats? Because of the spoiler talk, a bunch of my super chats went missing yesterday.
I don't think they went missing. Just remember, we weren't able to finish yesterday. Like yesterday, even though it was 3.5 hours, there is a big part 2 and probably a part 3 coming as well. We are not going to accept open spoiler things about Multiverse of Madness on the show, at least for a couple of weeks. So there is that. But yeah, if you sent them in yesterday, remember, we only got through about half of it yesterday, so there is still more to come. All right, what's next?
From Wayne Edwards, sending in a $21 super chat.
Thank you, Wayne.
I saw the premiere of Strange New Worlds, and I am continuing The Man Who Fell to Earth. Loving them both. I'm a lifelong Star Trek fan, so happy.
Sorry, I missed the question. What was he saying? Sorry.
Talking about Star Trek, Kurtzman produced Star Trek: Strange New Worlds. He also produced and directed the follow-up to Nicholas Roeg's Man Who Fell to Earth.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And he says he's loving them both.
I've not watched that one, but I finally saw Strange New Worlds. I loved it. I thought the first episode of Strange New Worlds was fantastic. So, but I mean, it can go badly very quick, but so far so good. All right, what's next?
From Jamie Sundays, I'm checking out of the MCU for a bit.
And listen, I kind of thought that after Endgame, many people might start to do that. Yeah. But I mean, hey, sometimes you got to miss something or go away from something to realize you miss it. So
distance makes the heart grow fonder.
Yeah. All right, what's next?
From Jamie's, there's that one. Sam Fisher. Should we really be touting Multiverse of Madness as doubling Doctor Strange's box office when momentum is really coming from No Way Home, not Doctor Strange? It's not like Fast and Furious. We saw Doctor Strange in No Way Home. Or wait.
Well, I mean, if you're going to do that, then you can say, should we really say that Spider-Man Far From Home was really all that successful? Or wasn't it just riding the wave of Endgame? Can we really say this movie was any good? It was really just riding the momentum of that. Listen, we've seen lots of movies come out after big movies that not do so great. So yes, absolutely. Doctor Strange, The Multiverse of Madness should be touted for a $185 million opening because it's the 11th biggest opening in comic book movie history. So yeah, absolutely you can. All right, what's next?
From Sam Fisher, R.I.P. to George Perez, one of the greatest of all-time comic book artists of the industry. His work on the Justice League Avengers is some of the best there ever will be.
Rob?
I agree. I mean, George Perez, he's drawn the Justice League. He's drawn the Avengers. He got me back into comics with his new Teen Titans that Marv Wolfman wrote. I mean, the guy was one of the greatest superhero comic artists that ever lived. And we lost... In the same month, we lost Neil Adams, who drew the definitive Batman, and George Perez. And by the way, George Perez was one of the nicest men in the comic book industry. I met him a number of times at various conventions, and even though he announced he had pancreatic cancer, he announced it to the world. The guy he was still in conversing with fans, and he went out the way he lived, which was loving his fandom and loving the people that loved his work. And the man was a mensch. But we've got decades of his work to go over and look at. So he has a great lasting legacy.
All right. What's next?
From Maiku, you guys catch the black fingertips on Wanda and Doctor Strange when using the dark?
Yep, next.
I'm in. Have they already shot all the other 4 avatars?
No, but they have shot a lot of 3. I think it was about a year ago that James Cameron said, we're going to get through the second and third, the first and second sequels first, and then we're going to kind of go. They already got it planned out, but they said they were going to shoot a lot of 2 and 3 at the same time, which I believe they did. All right, what's next?
From Chuck the Mystery. Do you think Matt Reeves has any future plans for the Bella Real character in Batman?
I can't remember who that was.
That's the mayor now. So
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure.
she'll
Yeah,
continue to be the mayor.
yeah, I'm sure they will. Absolutely
And
sure.
they'll
they will.
have a political continuity to the movies.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
I think so too.
All right, what's next?
From Andy, Vin Diesel doesn't turn his back on family unless he has to show up on time to work.
Yeah, look, you guys know I'm a little biased here. I love Big Vin. I love Vin Diesel. I really, really do. I don't like hearing that stuff that we heard coming out that he's showing up late, he's showing up out of shape, he's showing up whatever. Like, because that to me is a lack of commitment. And again, I'm not there. I don't know what's really going on. I'm not going to pretend that I do. I just say that I'm a big Vin fan and I hope it's not as bad as it seems. All right, what's next?
From Sam Fisher, I know you don't watch, but congrats to Ncuti Gatwa being cast as the 14th Doctor in Doctor Who's first Black and queer actor in the role.
Again, I don't watch Doctor Who, so
His performance on the Sex Education series on Netflix, which is a great show, he's
incredible.
great in it. He has charisma to burn. He's going to be a great Doctor.
Well, and he just got announced too for being in the Barbie film, so he is just a real hot actor right now.
everybody is going to be in that Barbie film. Like they keep announcing names for
Rhea
that thing.
Perlman's in that movie.
No,
Yeah, which
I
I was
haven't
like,
seen her
what? I love
forever.
her.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
I'm so
I love Rhea
excited.
Perlman.
I do too.
All right, what's next?
From Luke, who would you like to see? Would you like to see Peggy again? In what? Why?
She's a great character. I love the Peggy Carter character. I mean, but we already know her end. So I mean, maybe in a multiversal kind of thing, sure. But she's just a great character. I thought season 1 of Agent Carter was one of the best Marvel TV things
Me too.
Yep.
ever done. Season 2 took a step backwards for me, but the first season I thought was great, and I do really like the character a lot.
Agreed.
All right, what's next?
Minority Island rules. Question: how did Thor fix the broken Infinity Gauntlet? Answer: a lot of super glue.
I mean, it looks like whatever they did, there's something with the Mjolnir has got some like soup goop or whatever they're using to keep that thing stuck together. So yeah. All right, what's next?
Sam Fisher, I bought my ticket for Multiverse of Madness before I started a new job. My ticket was for Friday. So I got out of work by saying I had a doctor's appointment, which was true. Well done.
Yes, I mean, I'm not lying. It's totally true.
I was honest.
The best lies are the truth, man. The best lies are the truth. All right, Obi-Wan, what's next?
Rob's moist sack of Hot Toy 69. Hey, Rob, free Hot Toys for life or wipe away modern Star Trek?
Oh, free Hot Toys for life. I don't pay for Star Trek.
A very pragmatic answer. A very pragmatic answer. All right, what's next?
From Jamie Sundays, they are doing the Lakers 2000 era for season 2.
No, I don't think so. Again, you don't start off season 1 with the end of your story and then not get to that story.
Right.
They'll do it. I wouldn't doubt they do it sometime, but I don't think that's season 2. All right, what's next?
From Sam Fisher, this is the first time I recall ever intentionally going out to see a horror movie. I really liked Multiverse of Madness. The middle dragged a bit for me, though.
I agree. One of my bigger issues with Multiverse of Madness, besides the terrible post-credit scenes, was I also agree. I thought the second act, I thought dragged for me, like quite a bit. They started doing things on the side that wasn't really necessary to pushing the story forward. Whenever a movie gets off track to kind of explore, do something that really isn't about or propelling the main narrative forward, I can really feel that in the movie. And I really thought the second act of the movie did that for me. I love the first and third acts, but the second act for me a bit kind of dragged.
They were so fast paced that when you got to the middle, it was just like, okay, come on.
Yeah, and
Go back
as
to
long
that
as
momentum.
it's addressing and propelling the main story forward, I'm okay with it being slow. That's fine. But I just found it meandered a lot in the second act. That's just me. All right, what's next?
From Fifi, Disney just announced Ahsoka started filming today. How's your hype for the show?
I got to tell you, it's certainly bigger than it would have been before seeing Rosario Dawson in the role. Like once we saw Rosario Dawson in the role, and I got to see her as a live action Ahsoka, I became actually quite enthusiastic for this. So I'm actually really excited for it.
Yeah.
And I've traditionally hated this character, but I really like her with Rosario Dawson playing her. I think it's great. All right, what's next?
From Alan Ling, hey guys, I saw Doctor Strange. I quite liked it. I told you I had some bad anxiety over whether I would like the film. I think I was having an anxiety attack that day. I'm okay now. Thanks. I'm glad you're okay, Alan.
Like some people get so wrapped up in their excitement for a movie that you can actually start feeling stress over it. And that's not good going into something that should be a fun experience. But listen, the bottom line is, it all depends. Movies are experiential events. If you went in, you had a good experience, then it's all worth the payoff. And I'm glad that you did. And it's good to see that the stress didn't get you too badly there. All right, what's next?
From Connor D, sending in an almost $20 super
Thank
chat.
you, Connor. That's very generous, man. Thank you.
Ate an edible at the start of Strange.
There you go.
By the end, I felt appreciative of my life. Of all the versions of ourselves that could exist, this is the only one we can control. Inspired me to be the best 616 Connor that I can be.
It's spoken. Are you sure you didn't take a little bit of an edible before you wrote the comment? No, listen, I am in no way promoting the use of even legal, mood-altering drugs or narcotics. But if you are one who, indulges such things, this ain't a bad movie to do that with when going in to watch it because it might enhance your experience.
I just like that we have a viewer that Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness made him feel good about his life, and he's going to lead his best life and be his best self. See, that's what the MCU can do for you.
I've always said this, a good movie will change the way you see the world. A great movie will change the way you see yourself.
Ooh.
A all-time great movie will make you want to change you. And am I saying the Multiverse of Madness is the all-time great movie? Well, maybe I am. Well, no, it's not that good. All right, what's next?
All right, and then we just have a buttload of support here.
Oh, wow.
From Dr. Hero, Brian O'Neill Singleton, HH, and Fredo. Thank you so much, you guys.
Fredo, guys, thank you so much for sending that in just to be supportive. And guys, that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much, guys, for being here and making the show part of your day. Big special thank you to you guys who sent in the super chats, number one, because it gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did it, and all of us involved with the John Campea Show. Thank you guys so very much for your support. Don't forget, guys, we got a couple more videos coming on the channel a little bit later today. One is going to be part 2 of our Doctor Strange the Multiverse of Madness open spoiler discussion, so make sure you check that out. Also, Mailbag is now going to be daily. I'm sure there's going to be some weeks where maybe we miss a day here or there, but generally speaking, Mailbag is now going to be daily, so we got a new episode of Mailbag coming a little bit later today, and don't forget to join us again for the John Campea Show tomorrow. Make sure you hit subscribe, leave a comment, click the thumbs up button to help the channel. I want to thank the people here joining me on the show today, Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett. Robert, where can people find you?
Well, people can find me on Instagram at RM Burnett. You can find me on Twitter, Burnett RM, or find me on TikTok at Post Geek Singularity and my YouTube channel, The Post Geek Singularity, and watch the new Designing Hollywood podcast right here on this channel with the costume designer of the Book of Boba Fett.
And Mandalorian.
It's
up there right now. Also joining us, Chris Carr. Chris, where can people find you?
You can find me at actor Chris Carr, Chris with a K, Carr with 2 R's, on Twitter and Instagram. Following Rob.
And back there, we got Ray Aura. Ray, where can people find you?
Ray Aura with a 0.
And special thanks to fact checker Jonathan Boyko for running today's show. Guys, that'll do it for us for now. Thanks so much for being here. My name's John Campea, and until next time, my friends, bye-bye.